The start of this what if starts exactly like in canon, and from start to imprisonment from the Pilaf gang, it's almost the same with some minor tweaks. Bulma meets Goku, they begin their journey and end up in Roshi's island where Goku gets his Nimbus Cloud. They wind up meeting Oolong, who is dragged along with him. They then end up in Diablo Desert and are introduced to Yamcha and Puar, who challenge Goku. Yamcha becomes a bitch and flees the battle because of the fear of women. Yamcha then has a rematch and fails. The two also join a gang. At this point, Bulma sees that venturing out like this into all sorts of dangers is a terrible idea and decides to train Taekwondo or something to fend off. Because at some point, just Goku won't be enough to defeat the menaces. They venture out to the Fire Mountain and Goku fought the Ox King, who was one of the strongest on the planet pretty equally. But only once Ox King saw the Nimbus Cloud did he change his mind and tell Goku to take his daughter along to Roshi and to get the Bancho fan. That proves in vain, but Roshi agrees to go to take the fire out in return for some Bulma titties. Bulma now changes her wish from strawberries to enough strength for Roshi to feel her slap for that and tells Puar and Oolong for either of them to turn into her and let him grope them as much as he wants. All that is done and Roshi puts the fire out. Ox King gives them his car, but Goku destroys it with his Kamehameha after just seeing it once. Bulma is now very intrigued in Goku and wonders what she is. As pissed as she is for her weakness, she's also interested in what kind of training did Goku do. This is where the plot changes completely. Before Pilaf imprisons them and Oolong wastes the wish, Bulma guns for the wish. Oolong and her race and she's faster for it. Then she wishes to become like Goku, without directly specifying anything. With Shenron hearing the wish, Bulma begins the process of transformation into becoming like Goku. With great pain, she endures the transformation. Her hair becomes black, as well as her eyes. Her gaze is a bit different and she grows a Saiyan tail. With all the physical stuff transformed, she's back to being herself. She doesn't know what the hell just happened, but she realizes that she indeed has a tail, which she can move, and her appearance has visibly changed. Goku is quite intrigued in why she did it, but Bulma says she wanted this strength so that she too can fend off against foes that they encounter. However, before they get to say anything else, they are imprisoned by the Pilaf gang. In the cell, Goku and the gang are sitting on the floor, but now there's a whole new problem. Her hormones go absolutely haywire. She feels a rage for battle and excitement to fight. Bulma is eager to kill someone right now and the whole situation escalates as she tries to bust the steel door down and her punches are quite a bit more powerful than they used to. But since she never punched a thing in her life, her fists quickly give out. She did make a dent or two in the door and Goku is impressed at the fact that Bulma managed to do all that. However, Bulma is now angry at herself and punches one more time, which makes the whole place shudder before dropping back down on the floor. Goku then looks at the night sky and mentions of his urban legend of a terrible monster that roams the nights on the full moon and that killed Grandpa Gohan. Bulma looks dead shot at the moon, then back at Goku and asks on what does he mean, before going into a trance and her eyes become reddish. Her heart starts pumping and Goku gets concerned, as well as everyone else. Thinking the monster is outside, he looks out and also catches a glimpse of the moon and he too enters his own trance. At that point, Yamcha and the gang are now scared, as both Goku and Bulma start growing hair and slowly becoming giant great apes and busting their way out of the cell by demolishing the roof with their might. Yamcha and the gang get scared shitless and starts running at the first chance they get. However, they see they're not being chased. Rather, the Uzaru Goku and Bulma start their battle. They start off melee but then start shooting mouse beams at each other. Neither is in control and just flailing around due to their primal power. Oolong is confused as to why did Bulma transform into that thing after countless gazes at the moon. Yamcha tries to justify it because she turned into what Goku is, wondering if maybe Goku is some kind of an alien. They watch on the battle and it goes on until something weird happens. Bulma starts evading the attacks. She has gained some control over her Uzaru form and is trying to get to Goku, but in vain. Goku is just way too rageful and inexperienced to control it. The only thing that saved Bulma from continuing going haywire is the fact that her IQ is massive, so it sort of led her to manage to control the Great Ape form. Bulma, unsure of what to do, evades Goku's fist and punches him at the back of his head as hard as she can and knocking Goku out. Pilaf gang has pussied out of there long ago, so the two Saiyans in the gang are the only ones remaining there. Oolong is asked to go to the Pilaf lair to get him some clothes, and out of fear, Oolong does so. In the morning, Goku and Bulma wake up. Goku wakes up confused while Bulma wakes up to Oolong trying to grope her titties. Bulma slightly punches him and sends the pigman into one of Pilaf's machines. Bulma and Goku both dress up, taking a look at the damage they caused the night prior. Goku asks what happened and Bulma explains it all in detail, also explaining that the monster that killed his grandpa was him and him only. That he looked at the full moon that night and mauled Grandpa Gohan. Goku is surprised to hear that, then starts crying. Now that he knows that he's the one behind Grandpa Gohan's death, he will probably never forgive himself. Bulma though asks Goku if fighting is all he feels, because that's what she feels right now. Goku shares that same excitement, so he can't help himself and so asks Bulma if she wants to fight. Without second thoughts, she says yes, and the battle starts. Goku and Bulma start off pretty hard, with Goku starting off with some hits that he uses usually on weak Earthlings, to which Bulma counters with extreme ease. Bulma then attempts to kick Goku in the shoulder, but he blocks. He sees that he can actually feel pain as opposed to all the others he fought from that kick. Bulma, however, gets even more excited and starts toying with Goku. Since Bulma is older than Goku, her power level is naturally higher, as she's a bit above Roshi's level right now. Goku tries to keep up, but is barely able to do so, while Bulma is enjoying herself. Goku eventually gets hit plenty of times, which damages him and he plops down on the ground and in pain. Bulma is concerned now, scared of her own strength, and comes to check up on Goku. Goku starts laughing and asks for a rematch once he's all better. Bulma gives him a happy look and agrees. After that, they decide to all head home. Goku doesn't really have a place to crash, so Bulma offers her a crib as a temporary solution. Goku says why not and goes along, while the rest go back where they came from. Over at Capsule Corp, Panchi greets Bulma and compliments her new hairstyle. Goku meets Panchi and the first thing she notices is Goku's tail, with Dr. Breeze following soon after. Bulma tries to come up with words, but in the end whips her tail out too and explains what happened. She explains that Goku is different from any other Earthling and is extremely powerful, claiming she can vouch as she too has immense power. Dr. Breeze calls Cap, then whips out a punching machine and then challenges them both. Goku tries and scores a 250, which impresses Mr. and Mrs. Breeze. Bulma is next and she puts all her power in the punch, sending the machine into a wall. Dr. Breeze is surprised that his daughter just did that, with Panchi opening her eyes in disbelief. Bulma then explains how it happened. Now that her parents know what she did and why, they took it quite well. Bulma then asks if Goku can stay a few nights and they have no issues with it. A couple days later, Goku decides to train with Master Roshi and tells Bulma that. Bulma is interested in going along, considering they can fight it out at any given moment, as well as get stronger. Bulma then packs up and goes with Goku to train on Roshi's island, saying goodbye to her parents once again. Bulma and Goku run and swim to the island and Roshi greets them both. Roshi is glad he brought Bulma along and notices the hair color change, which he quickly starts simping about so he can get more of her. Bulma is pissed off at him, so Goku asks to train them. Roshi asks for panties, but Bulma suggests to fight him for it first. If he defeats her, he can get her panties. If he loses, she gets to be trained and not annoyed. Roshi's confused by the proposal and laughs it off, but Bulma rushes at him in intense speed and goes for the punch, stopping half an inch away from his face. Bulma proves she ain't a bluff and challenges Master Roshi. Roshi accepts and the spar begins. Roshi wants to end it quickly, so he goes into his powered up buff state and decides it's gonna be over quick. Bulma is not scared of him, but Roshi rushes at a speed higher than her initially, which Bulma just barely blocks. Bulma is actually starting to regret her decision and starting to properly get serious. Roshi uses the drunk technique, which Bulma sees through and rushing in. Roshi thinks he lured her into his trap, but Bulma evades, trips him, and kicks him in the water at full strength. Roshi starts twitching getting out of the water, getting angry, but also realizing he's got a strong-ass woman to train. Bulma kicked him so hard she managed to break 2 ribs of his and made him bleed out of his mouth. Bulma runs up to him, knowing she fucked him up and in worry. Roshi's been worse, so he says he's okay. After he gets back to his senses, he decides he will train Bulma and Goku. Just then, Krillin comes by and lands like an idiot, asking to be trained. Roshi is not interested, but Krillin pulls out a hentai manga, to which Roshi is pleased with and decides to train the young kid. Krillin introduces himself to the rest of the gang, meeting the 2 Saiyans. Goku and Bulma say their greetings and see that they finally have someone else to train with that isn't a dirty old grandpa. Roshi puts all 3 of them through the same intense training that Goku and Krillin did in canon. That does plenty of wonders for the trio. Goku, Bulma, and Krillin get beefed up quite a bit, but Bulma gets the best benefits out of it. Her body and especially hands get beefed and calloused, meaning she has more endurance now. The training done farming gave all of them a shit ton of stamina to fight. Bulma had weights heavier than Roshi and trained with them, which kind of dug her into the ground everywhere she walked. But by the time it was in order to take it all off, she could already jump higher than Goku and Krillin with the turtle shells opposed to them without it. So she has quite a bit of power now. With all that done, they are ready for the Tenkaichi Budokai. Goku, Bulma, and Krillin are given classy garments for the flight there, and so Bulma goes back trying to be cute, while Goku and Krillin wore classic suits. At the tournament grounds, the 2 Saiyans and Krillin get into their new suits. Krillin and Goku looking as usual, but Bulma gets a bit of a different outfit. Roshi explains it to Bulma how it's for her since it's a bit harder on the crotch area, but more fitting for fighting compared to Goku's and Krillin's. Well, actually, Roshi just wanna see them ties. Yamcha came by too, as well as the rest of the gang to watch on to the fight. The quarterfinals begin, and Krillin and Bacterian go similarly per canon. So does Jackie Chun and Yamcha. However, Nam fights Bulma instead of Ranfan, since Ranfan was too weak to enter along with the rest. Bulma already knows she can pack Nam inwards, outwards, and upwards, so she asks him on why does he need the tournament money. Nam explains that he needs it to buy water for his village. Bulma gets confused at that, then tosses him a couple million zeni and tells him to forfeit. Nam takes a look at the money, then at her, and then back at the money, and is happy to see someone is actually willing to give out a ton of money for his village. Bulma lets him go, but she needs to beat his ass first, so she comes up from behind with intense speed and packs him up as an overnight part from Japan, winning the round. Goku and Giran fight goes the same, except it doesn't take a Nimbus Cloud to save Goku last second. Rather, he's a bit more powerful thanks to Bulma, so he defeats Giran even easier. Next fight is Krillin and Jackie Chun. That goes pretty much the same as in canon, with Krillin losing. Next match is Goku and Bulma, and Goku admittedly couldn't wait for a rematch. The battle starts, and Goku starts the fighting off with a melee, using his tail too. Bulma isn't too concerned and goes to trip him. He gets tripped but propels himself back up and goes for a kick, which Bulma takes, but mostly unfazed. Bulma then grabs Goku's tail knowing the weakness and then starts spinning him around to throw him out of bounds. But Goku quickly comes back with a Kamehameha, spending a bit of energy getting back. Bulma and Goku share a smile and comment to one another how they really went above and beyond on training over at Roshi's. Roshi is proud of them, standing outside of the arena and watching them as Jackie Chun. The battle continues, and Bulma starts off with hyper speed, which throws Goku off, and she gets a solid hit on Goku, which puts him down, and referee went to do a countdown. Goku gets right back up on the count of 8 and closes his eyes to use sound as a way to know where she is, predicting her next move. Bulma thinks he's crazy, so she begins running around him with such speed that she disappears into thin air. Goku's searching, roughly knowing where she is and focusing on it. Bulma then rushes in straight line, and Goku reads that and punches towards. but Bulma goes Ronaldo and slides right under the punch and gut-kicking Goku into the air. Goku is flying up as Bulma charges up a small Kamehameha, throwing it at Goku, so Goku gets out of bounds. With that, Bulma wins the match and is now going against Jack Chun. Bulma is quite suspicious though. She has a high suspicion that it's Master Roshi in disguise, so she tells Roshi to undisguise. But it's fruitless as Roshi just comes up with a lame excuse. So she puts him to the test. Since her gi got all torn up, she tore it completely off, revealing her bra, foreshadowing the future child's name low-key, to which Roshi starts salivating. Bulma then calls Roshi out to it and asks of Goku to toss her a new tank top so she can cover herself. Roshi is caught lacking, but she tells him that if he wins, he gets to take it. That line manages to motivate Dirty Roshi, and so when she gets her clothes, the battle begins. Roshi pulls out his buff form while Bulma decides to just not do anything until Roshi makes his move. Roshi starts doing the drunken fist move, to which Bulma pulls a Goku, closes his eyes, and moves in for the attack. To which Roshi evades, but Bulma whips her tail out, catching Roshi by the hand and gut-kicking him twice. Third kick sends Roshi away and almost out of bounds. Roshi then gets up and is quite proud of his student, but he isn't done yet. Bulma is smirking as Roshi is charging in. Roshi predicts what she was about to do, as she rolls, does a backflip, and attempts to kick from underneath. But Roshi pulls an instant Kamehameha on her and shoots it at her point blank, propelling himself in the air while at it. Thinking he did something, Bulma is holding the wave with her legs, as she too shoots her own Kamehameha, which starts rocketing Roshi into the air. Roshi is confused but quickly catches on. Bulma ends her blast with leaving some energy to maintain it, and while Roshi can't see anything, Bulma jumps up in the air and comes up from the above, backflipping and kicking Roshi into his own blast. Roshi starts falling down from the fatigue, so Bulma dives to catch him and airbend her way down by kicking the air to propel herself down. Roshi uses that opportunity to hold onto them, as he does an after image and comes up from behind, kicking her down just 20 feet from the ground, right out of bounds. Roshi lands all happy and Bulma is infuriated that she fell for it, but Roshi is the winner of the tournament. Bulma is now angry but strips her bra from underneath and throws it at Roshi. Roshi is very happy at that, and so they go eat. Goku and Bulma spend all his winnings and a bit more on eating, which when he started screaming at them, Bulma came back saying that's the price of her bra, which got the whole squad laughing at the table. Bulma ended up paying what was missing and they went back to Roshi's island. Once they're back, Goku and Bulma begin talking. Goku laughs at Bulma for falling for Roshi's trick, to which Bulma guts Goku and yells at him that he wouldn't understand it and that the only way he would understand is if a girl touched his, thing. Goku, being Goku, is confused as he does it all the time to verify if a person is a boy or a girl. Bulma gives up remembering back to that time and continues on with the whole story. Goku decides to find Gohan's 4-star Dragon Ball, with Bulma coming along, and so they dip out during the night. Goku and Bulma seek, but end up confronting Pilaf and Colonel Silver as well. Bulma says to take Pilaf and his cronies on, while she takes on the Colonel. Pilaf gets easily scared shitless and shivers, saying that they will take their leave and dipping, which disappointed Goku. Colonel Silver, on the other hand, didn't want to fight the girl, so she says if he's smarter than he looks, he will know why he shouldn't fight either of them. Colonel is confused, but Bulma takes a breath in and out before raising her hand and shooting a small and harmless ki blast right past him, as she never really has mastered anything past the Kamehameha, so that's all she can do. Then she starts preparing an actual Kamehameha to let Colonel know she ain't messing around. Colonel is now pissed, ready to attack and swearing that the army will find them and kill them easily. But before anything happens, Goku bitches to Bulma that he wants to fight. Before long, they start bickering and Colonel Silver tips out of there, finding the Dragon Ball. The two notice and realize that they bitched for far too long, so Bulma dashes towards Silver and one-shots him down to the ground and taking the Dragon Ball. Goku and Bulma then go on their own way yet again. They decide to split and find the Dragon Balls quicker, but Bulma has other plans. As Goku is doing the searching and taking care of the muscle tower, Bulma has headed home and taken a new Dragon Radar, then went to pick up 2 clams and a whole set of capsules on the go. After that, she leaves and researches what there is to know about who they just encountered. After a few days of research, she learns that's the Red Ribbon Army and that they seek world domination. Getting confused at first, then figuring out what they may be planning to use the Dragon Balls for, so she decides to go towards where most of the Dragon Balls are located, that being the Red Ribbon headquarters, so she books it there to ruin their shit. Over there, Bulma is casually sitting on her little floater pod and looking on. The army notices her in the sky and then start blasting at her, to which she just stands in place and dominates by letting bullets hit her and do nothing. Once the guns stop shooting and the mags are all empty, it's Bulma's turn to play as she starts charging a Kamehameha from above, while they all run inside, cowering in fear. Bulma shoots the wave at full power, which gets the whole place absolutely destroyed, leaving only a few men that were outside survive and run away. Just as the smoke is clearing up, we see Goku rushing in with his Nimbus Cloud to see nothing there. Bulma is confused as to what is Goku doing here. Jumping down from her little floater, Goku gets scared then bitches at Bulma for scaring him, then asking if she did this to the Red Ribbon. Bulma confirms, seeing that working harder for an answer wasn't the option, so she went the smarter route this time. With the Red Ribbon over with, they go back to the Kame House where Roshi is waiting. Goku mentions that his Dragon Radar is broken and that it needs repairs, to which Bulma does so quickly. As for the last Dragon Ball, Roshi suggests going to his sister Baba. However, Bulma has a better plan for now. She explains the tail weakness and that both her and Goku have to train that weakness because at some point it will become a burden, so it's only natural to overcome it. Goku agrees, knowing he should have done it sooner when his grandpa was telling him, but he never got to it as he thought there was never a need. Bulma comes in clutch with those clams and they decide to have Launch supervise them, as they put those clams on their tails. In an instant, they become weak, and with that, their training begins. Goku and Bulma lay flat on their stomachs, twitching here and there and barely able to get up. Launch is there witnessing the whole thing and not knowing what to do. She goes and checks up on Goku to see if he's okay, before Goku's tail tickles her nose and she sneezes, turning into her knockoff Super Saiyan. Goku and Bulma are now slightly scared as to what Launch will do to them in this state, but Launch is pretty cooperative. She isn't trying anything bad, but is annoying them a little bit. Bulma requires water, but Launch lays back, saying that she's younger and to get it herself. That pisses Bulma off, as Bulma starts shivering trying to get up. She manages but barely takes a few steps before falling down again. Launch congratulates Bulma and goes to get her hydration. Goku is amazed, so he too gives it his best and manages to stand up for a second before plopping down as well. After a couple of days, as well as a lot of back and forth with the training, they manage to control their tails. Goku and Bulma then properly test their tails by squeezing each other's tails as hard as they could, which worked a perfect treat. Roshi is amazed that the two managed to gain resistance to their tails being grabbed and congratulates them on the success. Goku then decides that they should go to Fortuneteller Baba to get the location of the last Dragon Ball. And so, Goku and Bulma go. Goku picks up Upa along the way and the rest of the gang also arrive to Baba's palace. They either gotta pay for it or fight 5 fighters of hers to get the location. Since Bulma has no money on her as well as everybody else, they decide to fight. The rules are explained and the fight starts. However, just like in canon, those doesn't really change much up until the fight with Goku and Masked Fighter. Goku's skill surpasses that of the Masked Fighter, and even when his tail is grabbed, he pulls something similar he did to Krillin in the next Tenkaichi Budokai. He acts weak, then says psych and makes the masked fighter a doormat. Masked fighter then unmasks to be the legendary Grandpa Gohan, and Goku runs to him in tears, wondering how is he alive. Baba explains it how he is allowed here for only one day from the other world, so they took the opportunity. Goku sees that he indeed has killed his own grandpa, so he apologizes to Gohan for not being in control. Grandpa Gohan is all happy and lightheartedly forgives Goku and tells him it's not his fault. With all that said and done, Gohan's time is up and he says his final goodbyes to Goku, telling him to keep training and listening to Roshi before he disappears into thin air. With all that done, and Goku at peace with his only demon, he takes a sigh of relief and says goodbye to his grandpa for one last time. With the last Dragon Ball location in their hands, Bulma goes to get it. On the way, she encounters the Pilaf gang, who shoot down her floater and she lands before him. They have a plan to grab her tail and defeat her that way. However, they don't know that Bulma trained it to full endurance, so when they grab her tail using the mech, she just uses her tail to tip them off and kick the mech into a hill. The Pilaf gang decides to shoot a rocket at her, but that does 0 damage and she comes out of the smoke and splitting the mech in half. She nearly kills Pilaf, but lets them all live to fight another day. With Pilaf gang now gone, she travels on foot to get the last Dragon Ball, but she has no way back unless going on foot. So she thinks for a bit, then calls for a Nimbus Cloud. It takes a bit, but the transport arrives to Bulma's surprise. Though she doesn't know if she can ride it, she climbs upon it and manages to stand. She then uses it to go back to Kame House, where the gang awaits her. Goku doesn't know since when Bulma was pure-hearted, but Bulma ignores the question and moves on to resurrecting Bora, Upa's father. So Goku finishes that part of the deal and Bora is back to the living. With everything now in peace, Roshi assigns their new training, Wilderness. He instructs them to survive in the harsh conditions of the wild and come back for the next Tenkaichi Budokai. The gang agrees and they all go their separate ways. Goku and Bulma start their journey and they decide to split up after a while to begin their own little journey. Now, since we all know how Goku gets around, we're going to be discussing on Bulma's story and how she came about training herself in the harsh conditions of the outside. After walking for a bit, she realizes she has all her techie goodies with her, but the whole field trip Roshi began putting them through is all about becoming self-independent. So that's a new thought for Bulma, as she always makes sure she's prepared for anything, but with Saiyan blood, she's thirsty for a challenge more than her own safety. So she goes back to Roshi's island. Roshi asks what could be wrong, but Bulma brushes it off, saying that she would like a Nimbus Cloud like Goku does instead of using her technology. Roshi says that it's kind of cheating as any form of transportation that aren't her legs counts as not training. Bulma is kind of relieved by that and tosses a box with capsules to Roshi, disappearing into the wild yet again. This time swimming to the opposite shore and drenching her clothes. Now, while Goku had a wonderful time traveling the world and training without noticing, Bulma had a similar experience to Goku's lifestyle before they met up. She didn't know how to hunt and thought that it was just to kill and cook up, but even though she could kill bad guys without second thought, she didn't feel comfortable to harm animals. So her first kill was very hesitant, but she managed to do it. She then didn't know how to light a fire, but did know how to get flint and a rock to create small sparks to light weeds. Before long, she had to maintain fire under a beast she has killed. She's hesitant to eat the animal, but her newly developed Saiyan stomach told her to eat up and she dug in. Before long, she ate and went to sleep. She was disgusted knowing she had to sleep on the floor, so she slept on the fur coat of the animal she killed and ate to sleep on. It was like that for the majority of her stay in the wild, and though the first one was terrible, she got used to sleeping on animal skin and eating all sorts of things. She still kept up with basic hygiene and cleaned herself, brushed her teeth with a makeshift toothbrush and paste, and continued on her way. It was like that until the second year there. She already forgot about all her gadgets and enjoyed the wild, appreciating what she didn't have all this time with phones and computers surrounding her. Before long, she ends up meeting Konkichi, whom she saved from a group of thugs. After she ran their fade, Konkichi managed to make her his friend, calling her older sister. She never had a brother, so she appreciated that. In either case, they bonded for a bit before she left the train. Konkichi watched on, seeing as some thug of her own league, but he couldn't be farther from the truth. After training, they ate, and Konkichi decided they should sleep. But Bulma decided to get out, as she has to continue getting better and better for the next Tenkaichi Budokai. Konkichi doesn't understand anything about the tournament, but understands the need, so they say goodbye, and Bulma departs. She feels sad that she had to leave so abruptly after having a decent conversation with someone other than herself after 2 years, but it's for her own good. 2 months before Bulma went to sign up for the tournament, she has encountered a wild beast, and while she could easily fend off, she was quite sick from an infection and couldn't fend off much. That resulted in a prolonged battle where the beast bit her tail off and stomped on her. Bulma gained just enough strength to get out from under the foot and fire a Kamehameha, which pierced a hole through the beast. After eating the beast, she felt a lot more powerful than she was, and her sickness slowly went down after a month of being like that. The day of the tournament is there, and Bulma enters the plane. Goku is also there since the Konkichi incident was already handled by Bulma. Over on the tournament grounds, drama already starts. Crane Hermit starts running his mouth to Roshi and his students. While Goku, Krillin, and the rest were confused, Bulma had none of it and walked up to the old Crane, asking for an apology right in his face. Crane then starts roasting Roshi for letting her train for his horny desires, but Bulma is so fast with her attack that not even Tien managed to see it, with her threatening all of them that there is more to her power than just his weird horniness, and asks for forgiveness again. Crane is stubborn, saying that he will say his sorries if she wins. Bulma takes the challenge on, and with it, they enter the preliminaries. The tournament gang is all the same except that the man-wolf isn't a part of it. The matches begin, and the first to go to town to fight are Yamcha and Tien, which we all know how that goes. Next is coincidentally Bulma and Jackie Chun. Jackie Chun already knows that she knows who he is, but he doesn't spare his power. Bulma this time evades all the tricks from the previous tournament and neck chops him right away and winning the round. Goku is surprised at Bulma's power and cannot wait to fight her. Next are Krillin and Chaozu, and that goes pretty much the same, and so does Goku's match against Pampul. However, there is a match that has been expected for quite some time, from both Turtle and Crane schools. Bulma versus Tien. Tien and Bulma start off their fight with a series of strikes and throws, with neither opponent getting a solid hit on the other. To Tien, it was a test, but to Bulma it's basically a warm-up. Bulma then goes in for an assault to see what Tien is made out of, and she puts quite a bit of power into her hits. But Tien sees through that speed and evades, with him throwing a kick of his own right at Bulma. Bulma catches these hands, but sees that he's a bit more than just talk, so she gets a bit more serious. Tien then lunges at her, but Bulma catches Tien's hands and knees him in the gut before punting Tien away. Tien charges again, this time striking Bulma with his knee and punching her to the ground. Bulma gets up and strikes him back. Both fighters at this point take small breather, reassessing each other. Tien realizing that Bulma may be even stronger than Master Shen himself. Bulma asks Tien that she's pretty warmed up now and if he's ready to go all out or to get cooked and apologize for earlier. Tien is in disbelief and calls Bulma a liar and a cheat, knowing she's bluffing. Bulma calls him out on that, crossing her arms and telling him she will kick him in the liver next. Tien is getting angry and grows his 4 hands, going for an assault. Bulma is standing there and taking Tien's first blow, but Tien falls down to the ground eventually. Bulma is seen having blood running from her mouth, while Tien has a whole fountain of it flowing out of his, as we see Bulma casually holding the tip of her shoe in Tien's backside of the chest cavity where his liver is. Tien falls down to the ground and Bulma wins the round. Both schools sit dumbfounded that Bulma defeated Tien that fast, but Goku mentions that even he could do that. with Krillin boasting around too, but Goku calls him out for the next fight. Goku and Krillin fight goes pretty much the same as it does in canon. The only difference is that he actually managed to destroy a part of the ring. Though Goku wins easily, with Tien not being able to read any of Goku's last movements and being surprised at that. Last fight commences, Goku vs Bulma. Fight begins with some light sparring at the beginning. They then start cooking it up more and more. Bulma sees that Goku indeed hasn't been slacking off and congratulates Goku on getting to that level of power. Goku also compliments Bulma on her power, to which Bulma smirks and the battle resumes. Goku and Bulma fight pretty equally, but Bulma has more up her sleeve. Tripping Goku, she catches him in an awkward position as she shoots a ki blast right in Goku's face. Goku gets up, not finished just yet. Bulma then disappears, along with Goku, and while they were partially visible during their attacks, eventually Bulma lands a very strong gut punch which gets Goku to fall down in pain and agony. The ref starts the countdown, but Goku stands up for a second before dropping back down unconscious. Bulma wins the round, and the tournament is now over with. That done, they go feast after a nice battle. Tien changes his ways and apologizes to everyone. Goku forgot his shit over at the tournament, so Krillin goes to grab it. Though Goku and Bulma worry for the same reason. They have a gut feeling something has happened and look each other dead in the eye. They book it out of there, leaving everyone confused. They then find Krillin dead. Goku tries getting Krillin to wake up, but it's too late. Krillin is dead, not responsive and covered in blood, as opposed to canon where he was quickly disposed of. The ref explains the situation and how a green monster came by and took an orange ball and a list of competitors. Goku, filled with grief and rage, takes his power pole, takes the Dragon Radar, and books it towards the Dragon Ball. The intensity he dashed at made a little bit of ki escape from him. Bulma is too rageful, but not as much as worried for Goku. She knows she cannot control his emotions right now, so she runs away to get him. Goku finally tracks down Tambourine and engages him in combat. But as Goku is still weak from his fight with Bulma, Tambourine easily unmatches him and destroys the flying Nimbus, proceeding to beat Goku senseless and drop him to the ground, presuming him to be dead. Goku awakens, battered and hungry in the middle of a forest and soon stumbles upon a giant fish cooking over an open fire. Soon after, he's confronted by Yajirobe, after which he's accused of eating Yajirobe's fish. They then have a quick fight in which they are evenly matched, with Goku surprised that Yajirobe is tough enough to take his punches, and Yajirobe likewise surprised at how fast and strong Goku is. Meanwhile, Tambourine murders Bacterian, Nam, King Choppa, Pampu, Manwolf, and Giran, as well as many other fighters. In the meantime, Bulma finds the duo and asks Goku what was he thinking that he can't do something to overpower that thing after packing Krillin, who still had more power left in him than Goku. Goku sheds tears, declaring that he will get his revenge. However, Bulma has a better idea. She takes the Dragon Ball and opts to go after Tambourine herself. Goku asks if she can handle herself, but Bulma says not to worry and reassures him that she will be just fine. Deploying a capsule, Bulma goes on one of her floaters and Bulma guns it straight towards King Piccolo, while he's making a new offspring. Bulma arrives and shoots Symbol dead almost instantly and declares a fight with King Piccolo. King Piccolo doesn't mind going for a session and asks if she can hold on for long enough to wish to regain his youth. Bulma says a strong if and tries one trick she had in her sleeves, and that is a power surge, which is basically raising her power limit higher for a short amount of time. That power surge manages to seriously injure King Piccolo, but Piccolo starts thinking and asks Bulma if she'd like to fight him when he's younger and much more powerful, telling her that he will defeat her without breaking a sweat. Bulma, as angry as she is, takes the bait and lets King Piccolo wish for youth. Once the wish is made and King Piccolo is back to his young self, he showcases his peak power by attempting to kill off Shenron, but Bulma simply shoots a ki blast at his wave and gets it off course. Shenron immediately disappears and a new fight begins. King Piccolo and Bulma begin their fight, and Bulma uses her normal power to gauge King Piccolo and catches them hands right away. She's sent away, but she stops herself and goes for another power surge to hit King Piccolo. He is injured but much stronger than Bulma in base power still. Bulma remembers Krillin, gets angry, and starts losing control over her attacks, and King Piccolo predicts her moves easily, which he gets her nowhere, and she gets her ass punched into a mountain and beat the shit out of. As one last thing, King Piccolo collapses the mountain and leaves her there to take care of business, presuming she's dead. In the meantime, Tien battles Piccolo and Drum and gets nowhere with the even containment wave. Goku goes to drink the sacred water, which will grant him immense power. Drinking it, Goku goes through all sorts of agonies to withstand the effects, and by the end of the night, he is on the same level as in canon, because the water unlocks what isn't unlocked for that body yet. That done, Goku goes to take care of King Piccolo, and the plot goes similar to canon from there. While Bulma has dug herself out of the rubble with the help of Yajirobe and was given a senzu bean to recover her heavy wounds. Within a matter of seconds, Bulma is like brand new and even experienced a small Zenkai boost. Note, it isn't a big one, but she's now exactly on par with Goku in terms of normal strength. Bulma thanks Yajirobe and goes to take care of business. By the time Bulma arrives, Goku is completely paralyzed apart from one arm. Bulma lands and packs King Piccolo, saying that threatening someone with another life is kind of shitty. Bulma is smug, saying that the Dragon Balls still exist and she wouldn't mind reviving him too. King Piccolo says very well and punches Tien through his stomach and leaves him to die. Piccolo then rushes Bulma, but Bulma power surges behind him and kicks him in the spine, sending him flying away long enough to give Tien a senzu bean. Tien recovers and Bulma tells him to get out of there, because shit's about to get real. Tien advises Bulma to be careful and Bulma assures him that she will. She then turns back to the fight, where Piccolo is getting out of the rubble and telling Bulma that this is the last mistake she did. Charging in, Bulma stays in place and King Piccolo throws an attack, which Bulma easily blocks. However, that was a distraction as King Piccolo charges up a mouse beam ready to shoot Bulma with it head on. Bulma looks at it for a second and punches Piccolo in the mouth, which makes the ki blast explode in his mouth. Piccolo stands there dozed off but flies up in the air and starts charging up a final attack, which is said to destroy the earth. Bulma stands there and watches on with a stern look. King Piccolo throws the attack, but Bulma holds it off with one hand. She looks aside of the blast and King Piccolo notices, getting scared. Bulma then throws a ki blast at Piccolo, strong enough to pierce a hole through Piccolo. From here it goes pretty much the same. Piccolo spits out an egg and swears the revenge is going to be his. With that, Bulma visits Goku, who is already picked up by Yajirobe, and tells her that he will take Goku to Korin's tower and to come along with. Bulma agrees, and so they depart to the tower. At the tower, Korin tells the two that the Dragon Balls as of right now cannot revive multiple people at once, so for that they have to go to the person above the tower. He is the guardian of Earth and the owner of the Dragon Balls. He also says that the power pole Goku had is intended for that very reason, to go all the way up to the lookout. Goku doesn't know where he left it, but Bulma does and books it to Kame House, picks it up and then comes back, handing it to Goku because he knows how to use it. With that, the duo goes on top of the Korin Tower and Goku starts the journey, with Bulma holding on right below him. After a not so pleasant journey, they arrive at the lookout. Goku and Bulma quickly climb to the top and meet a person who introduces himself as Mr. Popo, Kami's servant. Upon seeing Goku's bell, Mr. Popo tells Goku and Bulma that they're eligible to be tested and must defeat Mr. Popo in a fight. An uncharacteristically cocky Goku starts to fight carefree, believing that he's the world above Mr. Popo. But it is soon shown that Popo is far stronger than he appears. No matter what Goku does, he cannot touch Mr. Popo. Bulma is up next, seeing that she cannot do much more, but she does use her power surges she has developed. Mr. Popo is impressed at Bulma for tapping more into her energy control, but still, not enough to defeat Mr. Popo. Though Goku and Bulma seemingly fail the test, he asks to stay and train themselves to try again. Mr. Popo agrees and starts to give them lessons on controlling their movements, speed, and sensing their opponent's actions. Goku vows to do whatever it takes to get his friends out of the limbo and to beef the Dragon Balls to do so, and Kami interrupts, saying that he will see Goku. As Kami comes into view, Goku and Bulma mistake him for King Piccolo, and Goku angrily attacks him while Bulma prepares for a battle, only to be knocked aside. After noting that he should have known that Korin would not explain because Korin thinks he's funny, Kami tells the two Saiyans that he and King Piccolo were once a single entity, but Kami split his essence in two in order to obtain the post of the Earth's Guardian. As a reward for their valiant efforts against Piccolo, Kami agrees to upgrade Shenron so that their friends and the rest who fell by Piccolo's hand can be resurrected, but only under the condition that Goku and Bulma stay on the lookout for 3 years in order to train and be ready to confront King Piccolo's reincarnation, Piccolo Jr., at the next World Martial Arts Tournament. Now that Goku and Bulma have done their part of work, the Dragon Balls are beefed up and the gang now over the Kame House are free to wish the innocents back to life. Bulma also tells Roshi to wish for everyone killed by them back to life. When Roshi asks why wouldn't she do it, she said that the radar is over at the Kame House and that she will be gone for the next 3 years to train over with Kami. Roshi and the gang understand and they get on to wishing. 3 years later, at the Tenkaichi Budokai grounds, Krillin and the gang are awaiting Goku and Bulma. As everyone rushes in to register for the tournament, Goku and Bulma also arrive, though not recognized right away because of their getup. Bulma hasn't changed one bit in the face, but Goku grew up so much. Roshi welcomes them back and went straight to the question of if they did the thing. Bulma has the most Saiyan reply ever, that being that why should they date if she's the same strength as Goku, that it doesn't make any sense. Roshi is confused at that, then asks Goku what does he think. Goku doesn't even know anything about love, but does feel a pull towards Bulma and likes to fight her. Seeing that both of them are on the same wavelength like that, he drops it and urges them to go and sign up for the next date. The next day, Goku is visited by an unknown girl, but when he doesn't recognize her, the Anonymous goes absolutely ballistic. Bulma gets in between them and asks the girl to cool it down before she catches his hands. She sees that Goku is apparently already taken and she gets even angrier and vows revenge on Bulma, before storming off. The preliminaries begin and Hero is replaced by Bulma. Since Kami isn't needed for the sword job, there's 2 of them. And the first fight is Cyborg Tao and Tien. That goes pretty much the same as in canon. Then, Goku and the Anonymous. The girl is quite persistent, but Goku is still confused on why, and so is Bulma. The Anonymous points out that he already settled in when he promised to marry her. Bulma is now even more confused. Goku is as well. Bulma tells Anonymous that they are not married nor are in any kind of relationship. They just fight together. Goku then asks for the name of the Anonymous, but she's stubborn and tells Goku that she will say her name if he beats her. So that happens like canon, and Bulma is surprised to hear that Goku has actually proposed as a kid, though she laughs at him for thinking it's food. While everyone is against his marriage, Bulma is waiting for him to make a move, and Goku does. Once that yes came through for everyone to hear, Bulma rushes to Goku to dap Goku up, congratulating him on his marriage. Goku is still confused on what marriage truly is, and Bulma doesn't know it herself either, but explains it as that warmth in his heart. Goku looks at Chi-Chi getting that heat going and remembering back to the times they were kids. Bulma sees that he indeed has hots for her and her strength, and so they exit as just engaged. Krillin and Piccolo Jr. are up next, and their fight goes the same as canon. Next up are Bulma and Yamcha, and the damage Yamcha receives are the same Hero gives him in canon, just that Bulma is the one to do it and not on accident. Next up are Goku and Tien, and that goes pretty much the same, with Goku teaching Tien while at it. Next match is Bulma vs Piccolo, and that's where everything changes. Since Bulma trained with Goku on the lookout, both her and Goku's power is higher than what Goku's would be in canon, so Bulma easily packs Piccolo in the store and even Piccolo's giant form. Piccolo then began powering up an attack which is meant to destroy the entire arena, but Bulma is quick to exploit that attack, and it's just a casual attack. She uses a Kamehameha to quickly dispose of it and then go rush Piccolo to take him down for good. She knows that Kami might die if she kills Piccolo, so she's really careful of what she does and with what intensity of attack. Piccolo takes a strong gut kick, followed by another heel to the face, followed by a sledgehammer to the head. Piccolo is sent out of bounds and Bulma wins, but knows that the whole fight isn't over yet, knowing that Piccolo will come by and ruin the whole shit again, and not let Goku and her fight. Bulma then excuses herself and goes to take Piccolo down, but Kami has other plans. Touching down with a pot and a seal, he sees a crippled Piccolo, and Piccolo mentions to Kami knowing he will die too if he finishes the job. Kami knows very well and says that he doesn't mind ending himself to make things easier, but he has a better plan. Since Piccolo is weakened, Kami can now use the evil containment wave with ease, and so he performs the technique. Bulma sees the technique for the first time and observes how it works. However, before Kami could manage to get Piccolo sealed up, Piccolo flees to the side last second and Kami loses quite the portion of his power. Bulma, seeing all that, decides to try that technique as well, but her Saiyan kicks in and she stops with the whole thing and telling Kami to flee and for Piccolo to retreat so that they can fight another day. Kami is livid at Bulma, but Bulma tells him now that they failed to seal him, might as well pack his ass some other day. Kami is pissed, but sees that Bulma is forgiving Piccolo for all he's done wrong, and that said, Kami goes back to the lookout and Piccolo limps away, swearing his revenge. Bulma is happy with the outcome and returns back to the fight arena, which is still intact. Having taken a bit of damage, she requests a senzu bean to recover and go fight Goku as a final contestant. After healing up, Goku and Bulma fight. Chi-Chi witnesses two powerhouses start their fight off strong. They start shaking the whole place and their attacks are felt throughout the whole arena. Some spectators came back once they saw Piccolo has been defeated and carried on watching the fight. Goku and Bulma hit each other for real at this point, turning a contest into a bloodbath as their Saiyan instincts kick in and they start fighting with all they got. They both use their power surges consistently but carefully and with full mastery. Kami observes from above, seeing that those two are really fighting for real. Chi-Chi's concerned about Goku, but Yamcha tells her that those two aren't really normal and that fighting is what they love, willing to die in a fight too, just to test their limits. Bulma then flies up in the air and starts charging a Kamehameha, with Goku doing the same from underneath. They shoot their blasts, and the two immense power clash, and Bulma and Goku struggle with the wave battle, expending quite a lot of ki in the process. But in the end, Bulma gives up the struggle and lets the blast disappear into the sky. Bulma lands and they have a standoff, but not for long as they both charge towards each other. They punch fist to fist and the shockwave manages to throw everyone off their feet. After a bunch of punches, kicks and whatnot, they're both now at low HP and barely able to stand. Bulma tries using her power surge to dash towards Goku, but Goku just barely evades and catches Bulma by her leg, spinning her around for a few laps and throwing her out of bounds, claiming the victory, so now Goku and Bulma are now even. With that little adventure, Goku is proclaimed the victor. Now that the tournament is over, Goku and Bulma are both given a senzu bean, and once they recover, they head straight towards Kami. Kami congratulates Goku and tells Bulma that the way she handled everything today was quite heroic and would like her to take the mantle of the Earth's Guardian. Bulma thinks about it but declines, saying she doesn't want to sit around on the lookout, rather train and fight to get stronger. Kami confirms her choice, but Bulma already made her mind up and leaves along with Goku. 5 years have passed. Goku, Bulma, and the rest are all chilling for the most part. The two Saiyans have visibly changed in these 5 years. Goku and Bulma train together over at his house from time to time, despite Chi-Chi's dissatisfaction. She tells Bulma that she needs to give Goku some tips and tricks on how to be a father, since she's actually very sweet and kind to Gohan. Bulma knows where she's getting at, but doesn't know what will convince him. So far, only Bulma knows that Goku has a child. While Bulma is playing with Goku and Gohan, when Gohan goes to his mom, Bulma gets a bit concerned about what Chi-Chi said, and is worried that what they settled for will fall apart and asks Goku about Gohan, since she's actually concerned about Goku being a bad father. Seeing the concern, Goku says that he's happy that they get to have a child and everything, but he needs to get stronger. Bulma then suggests a timetable for them. They wake up in the morning and go straight to training for a couple of hours. Then Goku goes to spend time with his family or whatever he wants to do. Goku says he cannot do that because Chi-Chi would completely flip out. After a bit of thinking, Bulma tells Goku that she will tell Chi-Chi that she convinced him to work at Capsule Corp, knowing their money struggles and that they're tight on it, and that she has already talked some sense into him, while in reality, they will go train there. Goku is excited about that, and so Bulma goes to tell Chi-Chi that. The plan actually works, and Goku can now go work/train over at Bulma's. But before anything, Bulma's phone rings and she picks it up. It's Krillin calling and he's wondering why she's not available for anything recently. Bulma says she's been training with Goku for the past few years and that's all they did at this point. Krillin started talking, but Roshi cut him off, saying that they need to come by after so long and how it's been a long time. Knowing Roshi, Bulma flips Roshi off but agrees to come by with Goku. Hanging up, Bulma tells Goku on what happened and Goku agrees to go, as well as take Gohan along for the ride. After a few days, the gathering is in full motion. Goku and Bulma arrive with Gohan, and the very first thing that gang thinks is that Goku divorced Chi-Chi for Bulma. Bulma and Goku denied it, asking what they mean. Roshi asks about the kid, so Goku says it's a misunderstanding and that this is Chi-Chi's and his son, Gohan. The Z-Gang surprised to hear that Goku has a son, not believing someone like Goku managed to get a kid, knowing his nature. Bulma replies that she can't believe it either, but there it is. She says she knew from the beginning, even how it got to that point. Roshi gets frisky like the usual, and Bulma blushes because Goku literally told her about his bedtime sparring. However, pounding the pea is the least of their worries, as a lone pod crashes on Earth on the farmland and a strange man came out of it. A farmer tries shooting him, but he quickly gets cast aside. The stranger searches with a scouter to find the strongest power level. After Piccolo gets packed up by the stranger, the long-haired person scouts for a new power again, this time finding two at the same place. With no other person to beat, he rushes there. While Goku, Bulma, and the rest are talking, the stranger touches down and looks at the duo, gauging their power. He sees that both Goku and the girl are at the same power and is wondering on who the other girl is. The unknown introduces himself as Raditz, Goku's brother. Goku is confused and shocked at the revelation. Bulma is too, but has a bad feeling about the whole thing. With that, Raditz goes straight to asking Kakarot to join him in a conquest, since he didn't conquer the planet as a child. Goku's even more shocked with knowing he was sent to destroy, but then declines Raditz's offer. Raditz prepares for battle, and so do Goku and Bulma. Goku is put down pretty fast, but Bulma powers up. Raditz sees that she went from 500 to 900 pretty fast. Bulma goes for the attack, but she too is put down. Before Raditz gets to do a finishing blow when he grabs Bulma and tells her she will be just fine for breeding and rebirth of the Saiyan race. Bulma smiles and does her power surge, jumping from that 900 to 1200 and kneeing Raditz in the stomach, breaking his armor. Goku too joins in now that he removes his weights and he too is at around 1000. Since Goku and Bulma train together, Goku's power is double compared to canon and Bulma is at the same power without the power surge. Goku rushes Raditz and goes for the kick, but Raditz blocks and is sent flying in the water. Bulma also takes her weights off too and begins attacking Raditz using her power surges. She didn't jump much with him, but she is much closer to Raditz now in terms of power. Goku and Bulma start packing Raditz up and beat him senseless. It got so bad that Raditz's counter got shattered by one of Bulma's punches. Raditz didn't expect for that to happen, but he takes the opportunity to tell them that he was sent to destroy Earth and get his brother to take down a tyrant named Frieza. Bulma got angry and caught the weakened Raditz in an arm lock, telling Goku to finish him off while they still have a chance. Though in this case, Raditz would somehow manage to trick them and escape, he didn't have the scouter anymore. so Vegeta and Nappa won't think he turned on them. Raditz tells him that he's telling the truth, and no matter if he gets killed or not, 2 even stronger Saiyans will come to Earth to finish the job. Goku signals to Bulma to calm down and ease her grip on Raditz. Bulma hesitantly does so and lets Raditz go. Raditz then continues how the 2 Saiyans coming here are way more powerful than all 3 of them combined, and that they need some means to train to go against them in about a year. Goku is confused and requires more info, while Bulma doesn't really trust Raditz and is keeping a close eye on him. Raditz never once had a chance to flee the Force, so this is a perfect chance, knowing that he's safe from them now that the scouter is broken. He also tells them that they were listening to him the entire time until the girl, Bulma, broke his scouter. Bulma takes a look at the scouter and picks it up, seeing that it's indeed damaged, but she can repair it. Raditz said that it needs to be reset to not allow the prince and his lapdog know he survived. Bulma said it's no big issue, but her trust issue is still in the way. She comes up to tell him if he's lying that she will personally kill him off for real. Raditz agrees, knowing his intentions, and even Goku says his intentions is pure. That done, they start thinking out how they would train up for them. Raditz is asked about their power levels, to which Raditz says Goku clocked in around 1150 and Bulma jumped to 1300 in those short bursts, mentioning that he's 1600 for a baseline. Bulma asks what are the other 2 Saiyans' power levels, and Raditz replies how that this is the bad part and that Nappa is at 5500 and Vegeta is at 18,000. That scares everyone apart from Goku, who is thrilled to fight them. Bulma asks for reassurance that they're coming in a year, and Raditz says that they told him they're coming as well after he either does his job or dies. With that intel, the Saiyans begin planning for the next year on what to do. The next day, Bulma gave the scouter to Dr. Briefs to fix it up and reset it, while she goes to train. She also had to carefully explain to Goku that he needs to tell his wife that he's gonna be gone for field work, so Goku does that and leaves Gohan to be with Chi-Chi. Gohan didn't know much being a toddler, so he couldn't tell his mom much anyways, and in the meantime, Goku, Bulma and Raditz go to the lookout to ask Kami about it. Kami suggests the time chamber to gain strength, maybe even surpass the limits now that they have one of their own to teach them whatever they may not know about the Saiyan race. Though it is a valid idea, Mr. Popo chimes in, asking Kami about the legendary creator of worlds, King Kai, and if maybe he will be able to help them all. Kami agrees that it could be a good idea, but doesn't know if he'll want to train 3 Saiyans on that planet of his. Kami then decides to go to King Yama to have a talk with him, which may result in him having a talk with King Kai. The trio agrees and gets on to preparations. After a bit, it is decided when King Yama reports back that only Goku is allowed to go to King Kai on the request of his. Goku then gets ready to go and says the goodbye to Raditz and Bulma. The 2 then decide to go in the time chamber. Raditz asks her how did she escape planet Vegeta. She doesn't know what that is, so Bulma inquires on it. Raditz then explains everything, so Bulma clears the confusion, saying that she accidentally wished to become a Saiyan using the Dragon Balls and that turned her into one of them, that she was born an Earthling but wished to be a Saiyan on accident. Raditz now sees what happened and inquires about the Dragon Balls. Bulma explains it all to him, keeping some details out, not trusting Raditz well enough with that kind of information. Raditz understands, and so they enter the time chamber. In the time chamber, Bulma is not used to the gravity, while Raditz stands there with zero effort. Raditz notices Bulma's struggle and helps her along to train up for the gravity first before they get to training for the Saiyans. Meanwhile, Goku is on the other world and is told to travel up Snake Way, which is 1,000,000 kilometers in length. Goku takes that challenge and begins the journey. That journey goes exactly as in canon, and the only difference is that he gets to King Kai in 4 months instead of 9. So he gets there quicker, meaning more time to train. Vegeta tells Nappa that Raditz probably died trying to get to Kakarot and that Saiyan woman, so they decide to go to Earth only because there's a Saiyan female there, which will allow them to go and remake the Saiyan race from the ground up right there on Earth, as well as cleanse the planet of the Earthlings and anybody standing in their way. Since they realize that their girl is more powerful than Raditz, they consider her mid-class, and Vegeta doesn't mind if they use her as a breeding tool for rebirth of the Saiyan race. With all that talk done, they head towards Earth. In the meantime, Dr. Briefs is done with the scouter and was able to reset it so that no transmissions that reveal location or ownership of a scouter are sent out. He put the scouter on and listens in, hearing Vegeta's and Nappa's conversation, and quickly tries getting to Bulma. However, Mr. Popo answers the call and tells them what's happening. Dr. Briefs is concerned for his daughter, but tells Mr. Popo that there are two people coming to Earth to rebuild the Saiyan race, unbeknownst to his knowledge on the matter. Mr. Popo sends his regards and waits for the duo to exit. In the time chamber, Bulma has gotten used to training in high gravity and is now on par with Raditz in normal base power. She brought along her weighted clothing to train in them to get stronger. Raditz asks about the clothes and Bulma explains it to him. He wants those clothes, but the most Bulma can give him are her wristbands, since nothing else would fit on a Saiyan brute. Raditz takes the wristbands while Bulma has her normal weighted shirt and boots. With that, they begin training. The entire time they're in there, they're training their strength and speed. But closer to the end, Bulma tells Raditz that they might need to train their ki control a bit more, as well as teach Raditz her power surge move so that he has a better chance fending off against Nappa and Vegeta. So they do that for the 3 months remainder in the time chamber. They exit and see that everything's still the same. Mr. Popo tells them what Dr. Breeze told him, and that confirms Raditz's suspicions. He knew they would either come for him or for the planet, but their goal is completely different from what it actually is. For the next year or so, they are keeping tabs on the two Saiyans' arrival, training and honing their skills. Bulma and Raditz are pretty beefed up, having gotten to quite a power-up. They went from 1600 to 7000 in that 1 year, and Goku is still on that over 9000 reading. Dr. Briefs mentions the time and place of their arrival, and they patiently wait. Goku is still late like usual, and so Bulma and Raditz have to take matters into their own hands. Gohan was still trained by Piccolo, since he also heard of them coming and took matters into his own hands to train him too, so that at least his son can correct Goku's mistake of getting him here in the first place. The rest of the Z fighters also got the word, and they also trained and prepped for the day. On the day, Raditz and Bulma are standing on top of a hill on the outskirts of a city, knowing that the coordinates point through the city, so they wait to catch them. The pods come in flying, and they are taken down as quickly as they entered. Vegeta and Nappa quickly get on their guard, and so Bulma and Raditz come out from behind the hill and lead them out to an empty land to fight, where everyone awaited. The fights go similarly as per usual, just that Raditz and Bulma fend off pretty good against Nappa, but Vegeta grabs hold of Bulma. He tells her he will not let go until she agrees to recreate the Saiyan race. Bulma resists but doesn't give in, and she uses the full power along with the power surge to get out of Vegeta's grasp and kick him away, while Raditz packs Nappa up. Nappa is thrown in front of Vegeta by Raditz, telling him he's next and will end up just like this, as they all stand right beside each other, ready for Vegeta's defense. Vegeta throws Nappa up and kills him off, then shoots a beam right towards Raditz's chest, getting him to fall down in pain. Bulma gets to him, trying to see if he will be okay, but Raditz dies before anything happens. While Goku is on his way, he realizes that his brother is dead and gets angry, telling Nimbus to go faster. Vegeta prepares for battle and aims to get to Bulma and get her on the knees so she can be used later on. Bulma tries her best with power surges, but then Goku comes in clutch with his Kaioken and kicks Vegeta before he even makes his move to finish Bulma off. Goku arrives and is ready for battle. Goku tells Bulma and everyone to go as he will finish the job. Everyone leaves, but Bulma has a grudge on Vegeta, so she stays against Goku's wishes. Vegeta meets Goku for the first time and mentions how he seems a lot more powerful than the rest of them and how this will be an interesting battle to say the least. He also says that he will come out victorious and all Saiyans will have to succumb to his will as the Prince of all Saiyans. Bulma smirks, saying that he's not her prince and will never be, and lets Goku fight it out against Vegeta, while she sits down and watches on to the fight. She takes Goku's training efforts into appreciation and comments how he learned quite the technique and that it's a lot more reliable than her power surges, having faith that Goku will win the fight. The fight goes pretty much the same as in canon, but as we creep closer to the end of the fight, Goku is worn down from fighting Vegeta, so Bulma steps in, knowing that Vegeta is weakened after the wave clash. As Vegeta is prepping the fake moon, Bulma shoots it out of the way and gets in front of Vegeta, telling him the Prince of all Saiyans will be beaten up by a girl. Vegeta's pride is running low, but he still smirks and powers up to just kill Bulma off. Using her power surge, she evades and kicks Vegeta into a mountain, leaving him down on the ground. Bulma pulls a Goku here and telling Vegeta to leave and to not come back. Goku looks at Bulma knowing that she wants to fight him again someday and agrees with Bulma when Krillin comes by to rush him and Bulma stops him. Goku tells Krillin to let Vegeta live, and with Bulma chiming in that he may be telling the truth about everything. And even though he's done bad, he's still one of them. Goku's eyes go wide while she low-key calls herself a Saiyan, smiling at that. Vegeta calls his pod up and it somehow comes by even though it was damaged, and Vegeta sets coordinates to the closest Frieza planet. He leaves the planet and Earth is safe. Bulma comes over to Goku, picks him up and gets him to Korin's tower. Korin says he has no sense beans and to wait a few days, so Bulma takes him to the hospital. He gets accepted immediately due to his heavy wounds, and Bulma waits there until the doctor says that Goku and the rest are okay. But before anything, Chi-Chi comes crying after hearing what happened, but when she sees Bulma, she goes nuts and lunging at her, telling her that she lied and deceived her. Bulma just said that it was for the better because now Gohan wants to fight instead of studying. Before long, the two start pulling each other's hair and screaming at one another. While all that ruckus is going on, Mr. Popo arrives and greets everyone, wanting to discuss the Piccolo and Kami dying issue. Goku asks if he can somehow revive the Dragon Balls, but Popo says he can't, that they need an Namekian that can do that, and they are only found on Namek, along with their own set of Dragon Balls. Bulma asks how long it will take to get to Namek if her father builds a spaceship. Mr. Popo says years, which gets them kind of disappointed. However, Popo knows about Kami's old spaceship he used to evade the cataclysm on Namek at the time. They visit it and see that it's more than sustainable of reaching Namek in no time. Meanwhile, Vegeta recovers from his wounds and experiences a Zenkai boost. Kui tells Vegeta that Frieza is currently on Namek in seek of the Dragon Balls to get his wish. Vegeta thinks for a moment and then books it to Namek. As Vegeta is traveling towards Namek to find out about the Dragon Balls, the gang on Earth is preparing to go to Namek to revive Kami and Piccolo. However, through the old Raditz scouter, they find out that Frieza, the one Raditz and Vegeta spoke about, and Vegeta himself are going to Namek too. That sets them back in terms of travel, because in order to go against either of them, they have to train. Dr. Briefs discusses a potential space rocket inspired by the Saiyan pods that the Saiyans, including Goku, landed in, using some tricks from them to create a proper spaceship. Goku thinks about something, but Bulma asks if it's possible to create a gravity machine on that ship. Goku was thinking about that exact same thing and agrees with Bulma, asking if it's possible. Dr. Briefs says it is, but there's no way the two of them could go above 5 times normal gravity. Goku and Bulma say that they trained at 10 times normal gravity and that it's a breeze now, surprising Dr. Briefs. Dr. Briefs says he will make it around 100 times normal gravity for some leeway so that they can train in higher gravities, and with it, Goku and Bulma agree. During all of that, Gohan suggested to use the Namekian ship and to take Krillin along for the ride to scout out the planet. Krillin isn't very fond of the idea seeing what Saiyans are capable of, but decides to go anyways. So with that, Gohan and Krillin go. Chi-Chi was a little more lenient since Bulma told her that Gohan prefers fighting over studies now and that it will actually be of great help. Despite that, Chi-Chi still can't help but worry. Even Goku and Bulma are worried about them, so they start hurrying Dr. Breeze to work on the ship faster, and Bulma even helps out since her genius never left her. Once done, they depart in the ship. Bulma decided to leave it half finished and just operational enough so that they can safely travel and train, so she can work on the rest in her spare time. Krillin and Gohan touch down on Namek and take a look around the planet. They see that it's mostly desolate, but Gohan reminds Krillin that there was a cataclysm that wiped out the vast majority of their people, leaving only maybe a couple hundred behind, while the rest either died or fled like Kami. And so with that, they begin their search, but are confronted by the Frieza Force members, which they easily pack up and get on to searching for a hiding spot. All in the meantime, Goku and Bulma begin their travel outside of the solar system and begin their training full time. They brought a bunch of senzu beans, but decide to split them by half every single time to at least partially recover. That works, and they're training on and off, while periodically taking breaks from training and eating proper food. By the time they reach Namek, they end up on the limit of the gravity machine, which is 100 times normal gravity, and they fully utilize it. Goku has managed to beef up his Kaioken and bursts, while Bulma perfected her bursts fully and is able to almost burst to Kaioken times 2 level. They are both at around Ken and Goku power level by the time they touch down on Namek. On Namek, everything goes pretty similar, except that Vegeta first had to learn about the Dragon Balls from Frieza as well as Gohan and Krillin, and then once he learned, he went on with his plan. But the events go pretty much the same as in canon until Goku and Bulma arrive. Goku wants to go first, but Bulma suggests that she could show Vegeta that she's way stronger now, as well as show the Ginyu Force that they truly have been beaten by a girl. Goku agrees, smiling and telling her that he'd like to see that. Bulma is all happy and then starts packing Recoome up with ease, while Vegeta is completely confused as to what kind of training did they do or if they just used the Dragon Balls to get that power up. Bulma then decides to play with Bertha and Jace and making fun of them, eventually getting themselves defeated. But before she lets them go and flee the planet, Vegeta comes in clutch and beats the ever-living shit out of them. Goku is mad at Vegeta, asking why did he do it, but Vegeta keeps on yapping about them and how they're not the best people to let go, so he killed them instead. In any case, Goku tells Bulma to take them someplace to plan out if his plan doesn't. Bulma inquires on what does he mean, but Goku says he just got to fight the Ginyu Force, so he gets to fight Frieza. Bulma says it's unfair, but Goku tells her to see it more and goes to confront him. Knowing that Frieza is way more powerful, Vegeta agrees with Goku and tells him to go with him, but hide at a good distance. Bulma asks about his ability to conceal ki, and Vegeta says that he indeed can do that. So they follow, but end up crashing at a nearby cave entrance where everything's in plain sight. Vegeta tells Gohan and Krillin to stay there and observe, while he takes Bulma way deeper into the cave. Bulma already tells Vegeta that breeding is not what she had in plans here on Namek, and if she must, will pack up Vegeta again. But Vegeta is way more concerned about Goku. He tells her that Ginyu, the main guy of the Ginyu Force, has the ability to switch bodies. And if he does that, there will be no way for them to stop him if Goku falls for it. Bulma is now concerned, but thanks Vegeta on the information. She tells him to be on high guard and to intervene if necessary, but Vegeta says he's too weak to do that. Bulma tells him that if her assumption is correct, Ginyu won't be able to use the full potential of Goku's, and then they return to the entrance. Goku is already fighting Ginyu and the switch happens, but Vegeta holds the two off and saying to watch, not to fight. As they're getting angrier, they also see Bulma watching on with a smile, as Ginyu is completely confused at the fact that his power level is only 40,000. In any case, he has a fresh new body and he puts the scouter on to go around the planet in search of the Dragon Balls. Vegeta takes the opportunity to get back at Goku and Ginyu at the same time, and so Bulma on the other hand goes to see Frieza and fight him, while Gohan and Krillin stay on the side. Conveniently, Dende also arrives on the scene behind along with Krillin. As Bulma and Frieza begin their fight, Gohan quickly joins in and powers up to his full power. Bulma and Gohan hold an advantage against Frieza, but Frieza is only in full power of his first form, so he goes beyond, and that's where things really start getting bad. This is Bulma's first serious fight, where she's actually losing and doesn't know what to do. So she gets angry for being useless and starts packing Frieza up. But in vain, as Frieza is just way too powerful. Frieza defeats both Bulma and Gohan and leaves them to die, while Krillin and Dende watch on. Vegeta on the other hand is battling Ginyu in Goku's body, and he's doing fairly decent against him, landing all kinds of tricks and whatnot to win. Ginyu decides to body switch again, but the ritual is quickly intervened by Krillin kicking Goku in Ginyu's body high up in the air and getting him caught in a change. That changes the two back to their normal bodies, and Goku can now rest easy, knowing he's back, and falls down unconscious from Vegeta's beatings. But Ginyu attempts another change to get into Vegeta's body at least. However, Bulma intervenes, now having been healed along with Gohan. However, something's different, apart from the outfit. Due to a Zenkai, she's way more powerful than she was previously and easily catches Ginyu's soul that left his mouth and destroys it in the palm of her hand. That results in Vegeta's getting his back and Ginyu going completely brain dead and falling down, starting to wander around confused. Vegeta started bitching at Bulma for intervening, saying he had this in a bag, but before anything, Bulma kisses him in front of everyone. Turns out that Bulma had feelings for Vegeta, as she has gotten them during their first fight. That at first gets everyone confused as to what the fuck just happened, but then everything is justified. Every single action from before is justified as to why Bulma just let him go. But right after that, she slaps him really hard and yells at him that he could have gotten himself killed and to stop doing that. Vegeta's mind quickly flips as he coughs and goes off to the side. However, like out of nowhere, Vegeta is shot down by Frieza himself, who is disgusted at the view Bulma displayed earlier. Bulma screams at Vegeta asking if he's okay, but he really isn't. She is then shot at next, but Bulma senses it and destroys it with a glare ki eye. Bulma stares at Frieza menacingly, ready to kill him at this point. So she powers up and begins the first proper fight while Dende is healing Goku and Vegeta. The fight between Bulma and Frieza begins, and Frieza looks at Bulma like she's crazy, calling her out too for the same reason. Though he shut up the second Bulma came up to him, packed him in his jaw, and then gave him a solid gut kick through 2 mountains. That managed to damage Frieza quite well, but that wasn't all, as Bulma came up from behind and sledgehammered him to the ground. Frieza grew tired of the Saiyan surpassing him out of nowhere at this point, so he jumped the form again into his third form, but Bulma just looked on to him menacingly. Just like how he jumped the third form, she jumped him and made him be a new puzzle piece of the Namek soil. Frieza was tossed around like a pebble for the vast majority of this battle, but not everything was fine. Frieza got so infuriated that he began powering up once again. That threw Vegeta off yet again, as well as everyone else. Bulma, still thinking Vegeta is cooked from before, doesn't care one bit and lets him power up to teach him a lesson again. However, fuck around and find out when Bulma came around, and once Frieza finishes his new and final transformation, Goku is concerned, knowing Frieza is holding back a lot and doesn't want Bulma to get hurt. Bulma doesn't give a fuck though, and dashes towards Frieza, only for him to catch her hands and throw her to the ground. The throw wasn't hard, so Bulma comes back with her power surge and attempts to land a punch, which she does. Frieza is completely confused as to how does the bitch manage to go one step above every time, so he goes 20% and packs her up like an overnight part from Japan. That does the trick and Goku steps in, using his Kaioken to go and fight Frieza. Bulma has been completely pummeled to the ground, not being able to move an inch and having a few broken bones on top of that. Dende came by to heal Bulma up, but Bulma said it's fine and that she can still fight. Though that quickly backslashed and she fell down like a house built from playing cards. That was the cue for Dende to go and heal her up, while Goku went and battled Frieza. Goku is already putting out full power of his 20 times Kaioken, but Frieza is putting him down. Gohan and Vegeta also tag along and battle Frieza, but it's in vain. In no time, all three get sent to meet the ground. Piccolo, who's been conveniently revived in the background, asks Goku if he has something in his arsenal. Goku does say he has something, but he needs time to charge it. Bulma and Piccolo offer to distract, while Frieza in the meantime goes and fights Vegeta, which is a one-sided battle, and Bulma takes that opportunity. Although she's a little bit stronger from just getting Zenkai, it does nothing and she's cast away. Vegeta is then shot down, and Vegeta is holding on for his dear life to tell Goku to defeat Frieza. Bulma is looking on to see Vegeta about to die and runs up to him to see if she can do anything to help. Vegeta tells her that he wishes that they spent a bit more time together, but if this is his race's fate, he will embrace it. Then, with his last breath, telling her that he actually loved her. Despite her best efforts, she cannot do anything and tells the now dead him that she loves him too and starts crying out of anger. That begins to form clouds over her, as well as lightning all around. Her eyes go white as she rushes Frieza, bursting a golden aura and her hair spiking a bit. With that power-up, we witness the first sign of a Super Saiyan transformation. Bulma lands a pretty hard knee to Frieza's gut, and that was the first proper blow anyone has landed on Frieza since he went into his final form. Bulma isn't done yet, and swings her foot all the way back and tries to kick Frieza, but Frieza blocks it. He's currently powered up to 50% and is trying his best against Bulma, but as Bulma is getting the hang of herself, her power is slowly going away. Just in time, Goku screams for Bulma to get out of the way, and Bulma gets to her senses. Frieza also tries to get away, but Bulma then remembers how she has power surges and uses it on Frieza to give Frieza a concussion. However, her powers also fade out quicker and Bulma is now worn out. As a last-ditch effort, she grabs a hold of Frieza from the back and tells Goku to throw the Spirit Bomb. Goku is hesitant to do so at first, seeing Bulma mentally unstable from witnessing the death of Vegeta, but Goku then screams out a sorry and throws the Spirit Bomb at both of them. As a last resort, Bulma remembers Vegeta dying and does one more power-up into false Super Saiyan and charges at the Spirit Bomb, along with Frieza, catching them both in it. Bulma then flies out of it and faints, going back to base while Frieza is in the middle of a massive ki ball. Spirit Bomb explodes and everyone is thrown back by the intensity of the ki attack. Bulma lands into Krillin's hands all tapped out and in major pain. Goku goes on all fours and is at ease that Frieza is killed, with Krillin limping out with Bulma, as well as Piccolo and Gohan coming along. Bulma awakens and apologizes to Goku for being so weak, but Goku understands considering how strong Frieza was. Was is a massive cap on their end as Bulma gets struck down and is barely alive at this point. Frieza aims at Krillin and shoots a ki at him, pulling him up in the air and exploding him. But Goku already started his transformation. Goku is quicker with it than in canon though. Goku is now a real Super Saiyan this time, and he tells Gohan and Piccolo to take Bulma and get out of there. Piccolo still has a grudge towards Bulma a bit, so Gohan takes Bulma and they go to the ship Goku came in to go off planet. The canon events evolve pretty much similarly from here, and Goku just narrowly escapes the planet's destruction. Bulma and the rest have been brought to Earth using Dragon Balls, and Bulma is healed up, as well as everyone else. Bulma wakes up to see Vegeta right in front of her, arms crossed and waiting for her to wake up. Bulma's first thought is to go to Vegeta and hug him, but Saiyan instincts get her to gut punch him, and so with that, the lover sparring session begins, while everyone is debating on Goku and whether he's alive or not. Once the vision came around again and Yamcha and the rest have been brought back, the gang is happy to hear Goku is alive, but disappointed when he says he doesn't want to come back yet. With that done, the gang goes back to being themselves, just without Goku. About a year later, a lot has changed. Bulma kept her attire from Namek since she's way more comfortable in it. Krillin even told her that Roshi gave her the previous outfit because he wanted to look at her thighs, which disgusted her, so she's keeping the new outfit. Vegeta also has a new outfit, but is constantly off planet seeking for Goku, wanting to know how he got Super Saiyan. Bulma though also wants to know how she got to that level of power she displayed on Namek, so she trains on and off and seems to get close, but nothing. She does learn how to tap into the power, but not sustain it. It got so bad that she got angry at herself this time instead of Frieza and managed to transform into a proper Super Saiyan. That got her stoked about it, but kept it away from Vegeta for now, knowing he will flip his balls that he's the only Saiyan in the gang that didn't attain the form. While Vegeta is not on Earth, she works on perfecting the form and gets to the point where she can transform on command. Vegeta comes home again and demanding a meal, but Bulma gets him into a shower instead. This time he's not forced to wear a pink shirt and later on learns that Frieza is coming to Earth and everyone panics, then rushes to the site of battle. Bulma opts to go and nearly exposes her brand new Super Saiyan, but someone else appears instead. A tall man in a clean attire comes by to crash the party. He uses his Super Saiyan to slice through Mecha Frieza and destroy King Cold. Afterwards, he heads towards the Z Fighters and asks them to come with him to meet Goku in the outskirts where he will land. With confusion, they go wait for Goku. The whole meet with Trunks and Goku goes pretty similar to canon, so there's no differences there. So 3 years later, at a battle site, everyone is waiting on the androids to come by. Bulma excuses herself, with Vegeta following soon after. Vegeta asks her if she will tell everyone, or shall he? But she says not to say anything until it's really noticeable. Vegeta tells her that her shirt barely covers her baby belly and is concerned about her if anything happens to her. She is not stupid and knows that she can't fight while pregnant, but goes just in case. After Vegeta and Bulma come back, everyone is confused as to what's going on with them. They do know him and Bulma are hooked up and all, but they don't know that Bulma is pregnant, and so they stay in confusion. Inside of the city, only Android 12 is seen there, wrecking the place and causing all sorts of havoc. Goku comes by and challenges him to a fight, where Goku starts breathing heavily. He gets 12 out in the outskirts to fight and they start the battle. Goku starts pummeling 12, but he's getting winded and getting that heart virus he was told of by Trunks. Trunks in the meantime arrives to witness Bulma going Super Saiyan and attacking 12 to save Goku, while telling Vegeta to take Goku and get out of there. Vegeta is a bit shocked, but he tells Bulma to do it herself because she has a baby to carry. That's when things get out and everyone realizes why Bulma and Vegeta were weird. Trunks realizes he can now finally reveal who he truly is. Piccolo knows and reveals it before Trunks does, which gives 12 an idea. While they're busy explaining, 12 goes for a gut kick, with Trunks screaming bloody murder to his mother to watch out. Bulma, aware of what 12 is about to do, just lifts her leg and blocks it, then uses that same leg to kick through 12. Blood oozes from 12's body, and when Bulma pulls her leg out of him, he drops down on the ground and is slowly dying. Bulma is about to finish them off, but Trunks rushes her to wait. He comes there and asks 12 where are the real androids, the two bio-androids that aren't here at the moment. But 12 just dies before anything was said. Trunks is now worried about his mother and explodes at her for being so careless. Bulma understands the concern, but she knew that the android was nothing for them. When asked to elaborate, Bulma says Goku has a trait where he doesn't go all out from the get-go. Even though he was a Super Saiyan and had power, he was playing with him until the virus hit him. Vegeta on the other hand is shocked to see Bulma also being a Super Saiyan, completely forgetting about Goku, so Goku had to be taken away by Yamcha and Krillin to get his meds. In the meantime, Bulma started thinking on where the rest of them could be, but her question is answered when they all sense someone coming along. It's a teen girl. The small but muscular girl is looking at them from afar and observing them, noticing her. Bulma asks who that might be. Trunks is frozen in place and Vegeta comments on her power. Her power is way too high for a base power and is basically as powerful as a false Super Saiyan. Bulma now knows to stand down because this new foe is just too much for her and Vegeta had to step in and showcase his Super Saiyan 2. Bulma is happy to see that her husband has also gotten the transformation and stands down, even though she wanted to fight really bad. Vegeta starts getting cocky and attacks the girl, but the girl goes from smiling to serious real fast and the battle starts. While doing all that, Trunks gives a backstory of the girl to Bulma. Android 11, codenamed Uliborid, is a genetically constructed Saiyan built from the DNA of every Saiyan that has existed on Earth so far. That means Goku, Vegeta, Bulma, Nappa, Raditz, Gohan, and himself combined into a single being by an unknown rogue of the Red Ribbon Army. Bulma thinks back, knowing a good chunk of the scientists, but none that are capable of bio-growing beings. So she rules out a couple like Jabro and side scientists like Flap. Though it's confusing on why both had Red Ribbon emblems on them when she took down the entirety of the Red Ribbon years ago. It shouldn't happen at all. Trunks elaborates that no one knows who made them, but they are controlled by two members of the Red Ribbon Army, that being Captain Violet and Husky of all people, who survived the blast and are working on rebuilding the army from the ground up. After raiding the old headquarters, they decided to go under the radar, and how they pulled off bioengineering is beyond his understanding, but he does say that they're quite the work of art. But they're menaces that have been taught only to hunt the Z fighters and kill them. Bulma is amazed at that and then proceeds to look onto the fight. Vegeta is pummeling Android 11, but she's just smiling deviously. She says that blonde is a nice color, but she prefers something more green. With those words, she starts a very violent transformation into a Super Saiyan, but not a regular Super Saiyan. The one she transforms into has a green tint in the hair and a slightly green aura. She has accidentally been turned into a legendary Super Saiyan due to the genetic combinations. So, we witness a Type C Super Saiyan. The power is massive, surpassing the initial perfect cell from canon, and Vegeta cannot do anything about her, but stand in one place, as he gets a beating of a lifetime, worse than what he had against Frieza. After she's done with Vegeta, she comes over to Bulma and Trunks. She tells Bulma that the kid she's bearing won't see the light of day again, punching her into a mountain. Trunks rushes 11 out of anger, but gets easily cast aside as 11 doesn't know Trunks, so she focuses on her job. She walks up to Bulma, who's all beat up from just one punch. Bulma looks at Android 11 and tells her that she may be incredibly powerful, but to go fuck herself. 11 tells her she prefers the name Uliborid more, kicking her in the face and then her stomach, then leaving the area. Trunks rushes to check on his mother and see that she's completely beat up and that her water broke due to the impact, seeing fluid leaking, meaning that the current Trunks inside of the womb will die very soon, so he takes his parents up to Korin and asking for a senzu bean, hoping to restore the two. Korin says that he only has one in stock, but Trunks doesn't care. He splits the senzu bean and gives each half to each of them, reviving them back somewhat. Bulma feels that her membrane feels full again, meaning the senzu bean worked and they both got a relatively high Zenkai, getting 3 times stronger than previously. Goku is still sick and waiting to recover. Trunks comes by the Kame house, telling them all about Android 11 terrorizing the place and actively seeking for Goku. Everyone pisses their pants knowing that she's coming here next, and so they decide to dip out with Goku. But Trunks has a better plan. He says they should leave out a key orb around here somewhere and hide their key and then dip out. They agree to that 1000 IQ play and do so, and then leave with Goku. Trunks stays there, sitting and waiting on Uliborid to come by. Uliborid arrives and asks for Goku right away, knowing he's going through a tough time. Trunks says he's not letting her get in and prepares for battle, pulling an obvious bluff. Uliborid goes Super Saiyan and easily casts him away, entering the place and seeing nothing but floating key orbs around the house. Trunks is in the meantime hiding his own key and diving into the water, exiting on the other shore and leaving Uliborid there confused and angry. Uliborid destroys the Kame house with one stomp of her leg and moves on, trying to search for their key. Trunks narrowly escapes and winds up on the lookout where a gang took Goku to recover. Over at the hideout, Uliborid drops by and tells the tale to Violet. Captain Violet recommends to release Android 13, codenamed Cell, which was modeled exactly like the Jiro's version, much like Android 12 was the version of Android 19. Cell is awakened and knows the mission right away. This version of Cell is already perfect and has a power level similar to Canon. However, this one cannot absorb. They had to sacrifice that part of him to make him the ultimate life form, even over Ouroboros. Cell also has no specialty of free will, because he was designed to avoid Jiro's risk in papers about him going rogue or siding with Z-fighters. With Ouroboros, it was a risk that they were willing to take, but with Cell, who had more than Saiyan DNA, it wasn't as easy. With that, Ouroboros and Cell began their journey, and at the lookout, Kami and Piccolo still feel to have a better chance, and once that is done, they suggest going into the time chamber, because Ouroboros is just way too powerful. First to go in are Vegeta and Trunks. Bulma and Piccolo start being on lookout for Ouroboros just in case, but during their watch, Ouroboros and Cell find them. Bulma tells Piccolo to get ready, because those two are equally powerful. Bulma goes into her Super Saiyan, stacking her double surge on top and gets ready, while Ouroboros goes into her own Super Saiyan and telling Cell not to interfere. The battle then begins. Bulma rushes Ouroboros and tries landing a hit on her, but Ouroboros wasn't ready for Bulma to actually become stronger in such a short amount of time and got packed up right in the face. Bulma does a couple more assaults on Ouroboros, but they don't last long. Ouroboros powers up to 50%, and just as Bulma was about to land yet another hit, Ouroboros spin kicks Bulma into the ground with all of those 50% and presuming her virtually dead. Ouroboros commands Cell to shoot Piccolo down too, so they can continue seeking for Goku. But just as Cell was about to shoot a death beam at him, someone else arrives. It's Raditz of all people, and he's back for real. Cell aims at him instead, knowing he's a Z-fighter in their eyes, and shoots the beam. However, it was easily cast aside by Raditz, whom uses Kaioken and Super Saiyan at the same time, something not yet seen before. He successfully defeats Cell with a Kamehameha since he wasn't powered up enough, and Cell is now defeated with extreme ease. Meanwhile, for Ouroboros, he had other plans. He first asks her what her mission is, and Ouroboros carefully explains that her mission is to rid the world of Z-fighters, because they're the true menace here. Meanwhile, at the lookout, Goku has now recovered quite well, and Gohan is there to hug him. Gohan tells him that Vegeta and Trunks are already inside the time chamber and training for 11. Goku knows and asks his son if he'd like to go next. Gohan agrees, and then they wait on for Vegeta and Trunks to come out. They come out shortly after, and Goku begins dressing up in Saiyan armor, but senses Raditz down below. He thinks it's a medicine side effect or something, but Gohan senses it too, and his power is quite high compared to how he was before. In either case, Goku tells Gohan that he should enter the chamber, and Gohan obliges. Back at the ground level of Earth, Ouroboros doesn't trust Raditz's words about the Red Ribbon being the bad guys, since she was raised to protect the planet from the likes of theirs. Bulma thinks for a bit, then asks Ouroboros is that why they gave her the Android 11 alias, amongst the rest. How does she know if it's not brainwashing? Ouroboros quiets her yapping and shoots a blast, which Raditz quickly blocks. By the time smoke clears, she's gone. Raditz and Bulma are confused as to what's happening. Raditz is supposed to be dead, but he said that he spoke to Goku while he was on Yardra and told him not to revive him because he's training with King Kai. Now that the world is at stake, he told King Kai that he needs to go back to help, but since he's dead, he cannot go. King Kai then decided to offer his life to him to go and defeat the androids, but under the condition he gets revived after it all ends. Goku knew about it all and agreed that they proceed like usual until he comes. Bulma is happy that he's back and lets him to the lookout, where everybody is. While these two are going to the lookout, Vegeta goes to take on Ouroboros. Ouroboros is angry that Vegeta managed to find her, but isn't concerned and decides to fight. Vegeta goes into a stage 2 Super Saiyan and attacks, while Ouroboros bursts into her Super Saiyan and they trade blows. She sees that Vegeta got a lot stronger since last time they fought, so she powers up to 50% to fight Vegeta and gets an edge in battle, and they trade blows all over the place, and neither is predictable to the outcome of this battle. Ulobord really has to pack him up and leave because Violet will be very mad and prolonging won't make it any different. That's where she also realizes that Raditz and Bulma could be onto something. She was beaten to taking what they said as a fact, but was unsure if what they're saying is actually true. So she leaves Vegeta in pain on the ground as she masks her ki and escapes. Vegeta is pissed that he's not as powerful as he thought he was, but at this point it didn't matter because Ulobord had plans to find out the truth. Over at the hideout, Husky asks Ulobord where has she been and where Cell is. Ulobord says that Cell has been killed off by one of the Z fighters, but to save her ass, she said that she defeated Raditz, Bulma, Piccolo and Vegeta one after another. Violet says that Cell was just a stupid vessel and that Ulobord is the best creation for domination. Not realizing what she said enabled Ulobord to think. Ulobord decides to excuse herself, sensing someone else incoming and telling them she's going to take them down as to not expose their location. In reality, Ulobord is evading abuse and shock therapy, while at the same time escaping to somewhere where she cannot be easily found, thinking about what she just heard and applying the Z-Fighter knowledge to her own current logic. Bulma finds her and saying she comes in peace and sensing distress in her ki. Ulobord is hesitant to say anything, but then elaborates on how Violet told her that Cell was a necessary vessel to sacrifice and that she herself is a perfect being of domination. Bulma comes closer and sits with her as they begin talking Saiyan girl to Saiyan girl. Goku and Gohan are in a time chamber doing the same shit as in canon. Vegeta is coping with how easily he was cast aside and Trunks is on his own to Ulobord's last location. In that meantime, Bulma tells her how everything went on, how a Red Ribbon gathered the Dragon Balls to use them for evil and that her and Goku came to the end of them to prevent it from happening. She doesn't know how Husky and Violet survived, but she's more interested in knowing who created her. Ulobord elaborates, saying that they have forced Dr. Flaps to use Jiro's designs to create those bio-androids as well as use the knowledge from Cell to create an ultimate Saiyan warrior, resulting in her, which is more than they expected. She was abused and shocked whenever she did something wrong, and that still haunts her, even though it was normal for her. Bulma asks about the shocks, and Ulobord takes her shirt and bra off, as well as giving Bulma her shirt. She says that the things on her shoulders are shockers, as well as the entirety of the chest plate covering her chest. Bulma realizes that she indeed was brainwashed and not made to believe, so Bulma takes her shirt off and asks Ulobord to take the shock plate off. Ulobord says she can't because if she tries, it shocks her more than they would. Bulma uses her genius once again and finds a combination lock at the back and then scrolling, finding the right combination, which ended up being the year when Red Ribbon was destroyed. Bulma throws it and destroys the plate, and Ulobord wears Bulma's shirt. Ulobord has too many dots connecting properly and kind of understands what her original purpose was this entire time. She wants to get rid of them, but she's afraid to do it herself even though she wants to. Bulma tells her that she doesn't need to kill them, but she can put them in jail. Ulobord tells Bulma that could work, but Husky may escape again. Bulma doesn't mean an Earth jail though. She takes Ulobord to Capsule Corp and goes to call up someone. That someone arrives and it's Jocko, who is a brand new galactic patroller. Bulma explains the situation and Jocko takes Ulobord's statement. Jocko says that she needs to be locked up too for what she's done, but Bulma smacks his head and tells him that the Red Ribbon almost took out over the entire Earth twice, which is more than enough evidence to lock them up. Jocko asks for permission to use a mind reader device on both of them and reads the events. Jocko is terrified of what happened to her, but says these two are an easy lick and asks for their location. Ulobord takes him there and tells Jocko that she doesn't really want to get involved in any of this. Jocko understands and takes the two in. Bulma smiles, winks, and gives Ulobord a thumbs up. Now that the last two members of the Red Ribbon are gone, Ulobord is at ease, but worried on what to do next. Ulobord is just a child, so she doesn't have parents or anyone to take care of her. Bulma thinks about it, then invites her to her house to live with her and gets schooled. Ultiborid is confused about the school part of it, so Bulma explains it as proper education, where she gets to learn more about the world, about other goodies, and so whatnot. Ultiborid breaks down crying, in complete confusion and happiness that someone is treating her as someone instead of something. Bulma sees that Ultiborid is very confused and scared, so Bulma hugs her. That was the breaking point, where Ultiborid stops for a second and continues wailing even harder. Goku and Gohan come out and ready to fight too, having gone on full year and actually unlocking Super Saiyan 2. Bulma comes to the lookout and asking for everyone to come by, not knowing how to break the news to them. As everyone gathers, she's still thinking, so she just calls out for Ultiborid, which scares everyone and she arrives. As everyone screams for Bulma and her alleged insanity, Ultiborid walks up next to Bulma and still wiping tears off of her face. Krillin is confused on what's going on, seeing Ultiborid crying. Goku looks at Bulma in confusion, mouth agape, and Gohan has his PTSD from Namek and is on very high guard, going Super Saiyan 2 and getting ready for battle. Goku signals him to stay put as he approaches the two girls. Tien and Piccolo are looking stupid like they ain't just fought her 2 days ago. Bulma says that she was just used and controlled, that even though artificial, she still has a normal mind and brain. She realized the mistakes done by the people who created her, those being Captain Violet and Husky. Goku thinks remembering the name Husky from somewhere before realizing it was actually that girl that tried tricking him for the Dragon Balls a long time ago. Goku then asks what happened to them, but Bulma just says it's a long story, but that they're locked up. Goku wonders about Ultiborid and what would she do now, but Bulma says that Trunks that's currently growing inside of her is gonna have an older sister. When the Z gang hears it, they go wide open eyes and screaming at Bulma. They tell her she's out of her mind, but Bulma looks at Mr. Popo and tells him why didn't he budge at all. Mr. Popo backs Bulma up, rightfully claiming that Ultiborid saw the light and feels guilty for everything she's done, and that Bulma will be spending her time and resources on her, something Husky and Violet didn't. That done and settled, the gang looks at Ultiborid and decides that she isn't at fault and that she was just instructed to do things, so they let her stay. This means that Trunks can now have Ultiborid of his timeline to be actually redeemed, and Krillin doesn't get his fuck toy. Trunks returns back to his timeline and hears the news that Ultiborid has taken over the place again, and Trunks knows that Ultiborid in his timeline is stronger, but he has an ace in his sleeves. He comes over to future Ultiborid and says that her terror ends here. Ultiborid calls Cap, knowing damn well that Trunks can't be that strong after only a few days of absence, but she was proven wrong. While he was in the past, Trunks went along with Goku to New Planet Namek in search of the new Guardian. They came across Dende and they even met the Elder. Goku asked Mori to unlock Trunks' potential. Mori was happy to do so, knowing what he went through, and Trunks' potential was unlocked. He had lots of it from all the years training and fighting but not being able to unlock it, so he was served well for an unlock. Using his new potential, Trunks rushes at Ultiborid with all his power of Super Saiyan Grade 2 and packs her up, not giving her time to recover. Ultiborid was beaten, but she learned as she fought, and in no time they were tied. But that wasn't all. Trunks phased in and out of Grade 2 and 3 Super Saiyan to maximize impact and utilize speed to gain an advantage, which gave him more room to breathe the evenness. Ultiborid cannot keep up or improve, so she gets mentally unstable and trying to go as high as she could, but Goku's genes prevent Brolisha version 2 from happening. Trunks uses the opportunity to think, then decides that killing both her and Cell off is a good way to go. So he charges up a double Sunday and throws it at Ultiborid, vaporizing her. Now for Cell. He knows he can regenerate and is a touch stronger than Ultiborid herself was, but knows what to do. Cell immediately gets there and starts taunting Trunks, who got sick of Cell's antics and uses the same tricks as with Ultiborid to defeat Cell, just this time without any traces of him. Back in the present, Ulobord is taken home to Capsule Corp where she will live for the next few years. Bulma convinces Vegeta that they will all sleep together so she gets a feeling of what having parents feels like. Vegeta is against it, knowing that's not how a Saiyan child is raised. He explains to Bulma that she was turned into a Saiyan, not born as one, and wouldn't get it, because she lived an Earthling life before becoming a Saiyan. Bulma says that Ulobord was born as one, yet needs physical touch because she never had been touched before. Vegeta is still unconvinced and scoffs, so Bulma gets him back to his senses and tells him to swallow his pride and do it. Vegeta is still prideful, but Bulma after images to him and knees him in the gut, holding him in a head and arm locks. Vegeta agrees, though still scoffing, and so for the next 2 years, Ulobord is introduced to having someone to love, finding love, learning about the world, and everything else. She lets people call her Ula for obvious length reason, but also so she doesn't carry all the burden of her past on her shoulders. Vegeta has grown quite fond of Ulobord and even trains with her. And just like a real older sister, Ula helps clean out, nourish, and entertain baby Trunks. So for the next 7 years of them will be filled with loads of things. Raditz, on the other hand, has requested from Dende to restore the Dragon Balls so he can wish King Kai back. Dende does so, and the wish is made after summoning the dragon. King Kai's back and alive. Raditz, though, doesn't have a place to live at, so he crashes at Goku's for the time being. Over there, he learns more about the human life on Earth and how this planet's families work. He sees many similarities and can tell that the Saiyans and humans have a lot in common. He even wishes to have a family one day too. In the meantime, Raditz teaches Goku on how to go Kaioken in Super Saiyan since Goku already did the calming focus part in the time chamber, so he only needs to do it. He gets it down pretty quickly, and Goku is now a Kaioken Super Saiyan user. Goku then teaches Raditz how to go beyond Super Saiyan, and Raditz watches on carefully. And so, Raditz manages to do it, although he needs a bit more practice before he can reach actual Super Saiyan 2 and maintain it. 7 years have passed, and things have completely leveled out. Ulobord is now 21. She hasn't changed much since she had a growth spurt during the Android saga, so she doesn't change much. Goku and Raditz periodically train together, reaching greater and greater heights. Bulma, Vegeta, and Ula are all training to attain Super Saiyan 2 and possibly even further beyond. Since there was no cell games and androids like the ones in canon, nobody died. Ula has learned how to live on Earth normally and is even independent, deciding to go to the same high school as Gohan, despite being older. She is learning what it's like going to school properly and on her own. Dr. Briefs is paying for her luxury apartment and schooling, while all Ula has to do is study and learn from others. Over there, she finds Gohan, which surprises her. Gohan is flattered but says that he's been forced here because all he did was train with Dad and Uncle for the past few years. Ula realizes that, saying she wasn't forced, but rather she wants to know more about the normal life here. Gohan understands and is glad to have someone he knows go with him to high school. They both enter the class and introduce themselves. Ulobord uses her short name for the first time in a larger crowd. She even asked Bulma to use that name for entrance papers and all, and so they sit next to Videl and Sharpener, and the two spark a convo, trying to get to know the two that just entered. Gohan introduces himself and so does Ulobord. They're asked on why they decided to go to Orange Star High of all places, and Ula responds with their usual, to learn new things, and Gohan was forced to go because he trained too much instead of studying. Ula had to get him out of that mess by saying he's a strongman and there's not a lot he does besides training. Sharpener decides to challenge him in arm wrestling, and they do it after class. Gohan easily beats Sharpener and Erasa is instantly all over him, while Ula laughs it off. On the way out, Ula asks Gohan if he lives nearby, and Gohan says that he flies here from his house. Ula knows that it's really far away and offers her place to him for free. Gohan is hesitant at first, but Ula mentions how there's 2 rooms and plenty of space for both of them to operate. There's even some training equipment and a gravity room. Gohan is actually happy that Ulobor has all that, so he agrees without second thought. Chi-Chi takes his role too, seeing it as independence in his end and being an adult, but he needs to promise to come back on weekends, which he does. Gohan moves there quite fast, and a school life for the two begin. However, the Golden Warriors still exist. Gohan decided to stop a robbery to fight a bit and save the money, which is a win-win. Gohan doesn't know how to lie well, so Ulobor gets him out of trouble every single time while at school. Videl confronts him, but Ulo convinces Videl that nothing weird is happening and that he doesn't like being accused. That's all. In the apartment, Gohan and Ulo are having a blast. So much room to breathe and mess around, everything's within reach but spacious, and they're generally pretty chill with each other. They go to school in the mornings, and after school they eat and train together. Gohan is really strong and displays a lot of his power to Ulo. Ulo loves training with him and spending time with him. The two begin liking each other because of that. Despite being half human, Gohan still has the Saiyan dating tendencies. Goku in the meantime gets an idea to join up on the Tenkaichi Budokai tournament, seeing as he hasn't competed there for a long time and it would be nice to go down the memory lane for the old time's sake. He asks Raditz and Vegeta, and Raditz is down for it. But Vegeta is kind of hesitant, seeing he's just gonna beat up a bunch of weaklings to get to the main course. Goku gets annoyed, so Vegeta agrees. Goku then asks Gohan, Ulo and Bulma, and they all agree too. Bulma especially, since she thinks the same as Goku in that regard. Ulo wonders about it all, wanting to go, and so the gang is all ready. So after about a month, even Goten and Trunks join up, seeing it as a really good opportunity to see where the two of them stand against each other. The canon events go as per usual with a few differences. Goku never died, so nothing from canon happened, and Videl joins on in the tournament too and is literally the only human inside, while the Saiyans go and take all the other places. Yama and Popovich didn't care much about not being in the tournament, but do care about Ulobor. An unknown guy goes up against Ulo, while Ulo looks at this lavender-skinned small guy. She can't move, being stopped by something, while the unknown smiles. Ulo figures it must be him playing some tricks, so she powers up to Super Saiyan 2 and stands in place. She can move, but chooses not to. The unknown is terrified of what's happening, seeing the power of Ulo is displayed. Videl sees that Ulo has a similar hairstyle to the Golden Fighter that Gohan played part of a while back. The unknown then speaks to Ulo through her mind, telling her that not to be scared or afraid, and that he only did it because the two that are right next to the ring will jump her and steal the key from her. How it all makes sense later on. Ulo doesn't trust him, and when Popovich and Yama jump her ass, Ulo disappears and kicks them both out, then rushes at Shin, kicking him out of bounds too, then towering over him to question him. The two fly away, and Kibito, who revealed himself to the rest of the Z fighters, tells them that they need to follow but at a distance, while Shin gets Ulobor to his senses. They fly away, and Ulo sees it, asking Shin what's going on. Shin communicates through her mind and tells everything about Majin Buu, how they were supposed to steal her energy to release Buu, a terrifying monster capable of destruction and terror. Ulo sees that the gang went along as well, so he decides to trust them for now and plays along. So with that, the two also depart, leaving the arena empty. On the way there, Shin goes to catch up to Kibito to explain everything to the entire gang. Who Majin Buu is, what he's done, what to try stopping him, who's in command, and who is releasing him. All that info is revealed, and Ulo now understands a bit more. From here, the events go pretty similar to canon except for a few tweaks. Piccolo and Krillin aren't the ones to be turned into statues, but Vegeta, Raditz, and Gohan. Goku, Bulma, and Ulo go down into Babidi's ship and face the three Babidi sent. Boy is easily taken care of by Ulo, Goku takes care of Yakon much like in canon, and Bulma takes on the Bora, actually killing him in this case. Babidi then goes for the last ditch effort, possession. He knows that Goku and Bulma cannot be easily controlled, but knows about Ulo and what she's gone through, knowing she's not very mentally stable due to the life she's had. So Ulo widens her eyes and starts writhing in pain as her mind is being invaded and torn apart by Babidi. Shin tries his best and so does Ulo, but the thoughts of the past win over, and Ulo is now Majin Ulo, smiling menacingly and looking at Bulma, signaling her to get out. Bulma is scared of Ulo, not knowing exactly what's happening, but goes regardless. The two get out, while Goku wonders along with Shin on what to do all alone, and so he decides to see who is behind all this. So he goes even deeper by blasting a hole through the floor of the ship. Ulo and Bulma have a standoff, with Ulo smiling and Bulma scared as to what will happen. Babidi then commands Ulo to go all out and fight Bulma, but he doesn't care for a reason though. Ulo must obey, otherwise she gets pain if not. Ulo begins the fight, having PTSD from the Red Ribbon days, and the shocks resorting to being controlled yet again. Ulo goes full power over Super Saiyan 2 right away from the get-go and punches Bulma. That gets Bulma to get sent into a mountain, while Bulma asks what the meaning of this is. Babidi can't let Bulma catch wind of it, so he tells Ulo to lie her way out. In the meantime, Goku and Shin descend to the very bottom level of the ship and find Babidi just standing there. Babidi says that if they try anything, Buu will come out regardless of what they do. Shin is on the fuck around and find out Char and decides to blast Babidi out. Goku screams, asking Shin if he even listens to his own advice of not going for it, but Shin didn't think clearly at the moment. And so with that, Buu got released. Buu looked around and saw the two. Shin and Goku began the battle with Buu then and there. Back to the girls, Ulo is afraid to disobey the new controls, so she fights Bulma at her fullest. Bulma is still laying down, but powers up into her own Super Saiyan 2 and goes head to head with Ulo. However, Ulo has a much bigger potential and learning curve, so she wipes the floor with her. Ulo isn't trying to kill her though just yet, since she doesn't want to kill her. But she's scared of Babidi and his control, so she has to do something, trying to prolong it as much as possible. Bulma sees that she cannot do much and only hopes to do something with Super Saiyan 3, so she powers up to Super Saiyan 3. That is a much more even matchup, and they almost begin the fight until they sense Buu's power. Ulo doesn't want to stop though and tells her she's sorry, but Babidi tells her what to do. Bulma takes a strong punch but doesn't budge. She tells Ulo if she's realized that Babidi is killed, that he's dead. Ulo is scared to try and goes for yet another punch, but before that even happens, Buu's power skyrockets exponentially and both girls notice it very much so. Buu has absorbed both the Kai and Goku, since Shin never bothered to tell the Z gang on the whole turning into chocolate thing. Buu is now stronger than both of them combined and can't do much about it. Ulo asks to go give her a senzu bean so she can fight with Bulma. Bulma is convinced enough and goes to grab the senzu bean, but Ulo knocks her out. Ulo tells Bulma that she needs to make things right, grabbing that senzu for herself and eating before going to Buu. Uloborid gets to Buu, fully healed up and powered up. She sees she has no chance on her own, but gives it a shot with something she's been experimenting with that Bulma taught her, which is Power Surge. She powers up, but Buu isn't convinced she'll do anything until her body begins to glow and sparkles form. Ulo decides to sacrifice her own body and life to save the Earth, fighting for others and making everything worthwhile. Vegeta rushes from near, seeing what Ulo is up to, but Ulo already made up her mind. She tells Vegeta to take everyone and get out of here and says her farewells. Vegeta screams for Ulo to stop what she's doing, but Ulo looks at Vegeta with a smile before going back to a serious and turning back to Buu and powering up a surge higher than what Bulma ever did. The intensity was so great that it caused an explosion which engulfed Majin Buu in a process and turned Uloborid into nothing but ash. Uloborid dies to protect everyone, but it's not over yet. Buu is still alive and well, reforming himself back from smoke and seeing that Uloborid is gone. He can now do as he pleases without anyone doing anything to him. Vegeta is enraged and so goes into Super Saiyan 3 and tries attacking Buu. But Buu is certified in the Reeve Nation and evades Vegeta's attacks. Vegeta is then absorbed too and Buu gets an even higher power boost. Raditz awakens Bulma and gives her a senzu, asking what's going on. Bulma said Ulo knocked her out, so Raditz continued that she's now dead, trying to sacrifice herself to kill Buu. which failed, and now Buu absorbed Shin, Goku, and Vegeta. Bulma and Raditz rush to the site where Ula exploded and see nothing but Buu floating in midair. Buu notices them and sparks a conversation, telling them they're next, then the planet. Bulma watches the sparkles in the area float away, with Buu tossing a piece of Ulabor's jacket to Bulma and telling her she could have done a much better job. Bulma is at a loss of words, standing there and grunting helplessly, trying to comprehend what her adopted daughter just did. Bulma stares at Buu, grits her teeth, and powers up as high as she can go in rage. Full Super Saiyan 3 plus Power Surge. Raditz tells her to wait, powering up into Super Saiyan 3 plus Kaioken, and rushes right after Bulma. Buu makes quick work of Bulma, however Raditz's Kaioken times 4 on top of Super Saiyan 3 is kind of interesting, though he's able to dodge. Raditz can't use it for very long, so Raditz makes do with what he has and powers up to times 10 Kaioken. Buu lets him break a chunk of his arm so he can split it in half and catch them both by surprise. While Raditz is getting worn down and Bulma is blinded by rage, Buu sneaks upon them and envelops them in the goo. Buu now absorbs Bulma and Raditz too and is laughing maniacally. In the sacred realm of the Kais, Kibito has brought Gohan there to train him, seeing that everything has gone out of hand very fast, thinking it'll be an easy job with all of them massively strong, along with Shin. He tells Gohan that they need to train here and fast, because time is of the essence and it's only a matter of time before Buu starts destroying the cosmos with all that power. Gohan understood the assignment very well and is about to start some very intense training, however Kibito has something in mind, the Z-Sword. He's thinking if maybe Gohan can pull it out and wield it. He asks Gohan to follow and Gohan does, coming to the hill where the Z-Sword is. He tells Gohan to pull the sword out as the first task. Gohan is confused and tries, but that confusion is quickly justified. Gohan tries, but it doesn't budge. Kibito advises him to use one of the transformations, but Gohan doesn't want to go Super Saiyan and powers up to his max base power and succeeds to pull it out. Kibito is amazed that he actually managed to pull it out, but setting that aside, they begin a training. While Gohan is training with the Z-Sword, Kibito is thinking about getting the others back but doesn't know how to, as he doesn't have Shin to mentor him. He does get an idea though, so he tells Gohan to keep at it while he goes to take care of something. Over at the overworld, Kibito arrives and halts the souls entering the place to talk to King Yama. Yama is graced by his presence but questions the motive. Kibito briefly explains that he would like for Ulobord to have her body back due to the complications on Earth. Kibito mentions everything and how everyone but Gohan is absorbed by Buu and they need Ulobord to help out. Yama thinks about it, then decides it's probably for the best. While she hasn't devoted her life by protecting lives of innocent, he comments how she sure tried and decides to let her have her body and power back. In less than 10 minutes, that arrangement was done and Ulobord is back. She's not alive still, but she sure can help out, though her power remained the same. Ulobord sees Kibito there too, asking what is he doing there, and so Yama had to explain that he's actually not a bad guy, but an apprentice of the most powerful being in the universe. Well, at least one of them. Ulobord comments on the power level, but Yama mentions that he doesn't have that power, but rather to create anything in the universe. Ulobord looks at Kibito and sees that he indeed has strength, but she also senses a weird sensation from him, something unusual. Yama continues how he was actually the one that demanded her body back to be restored, which surprised Ula. She then reluctantly goes with Kibito, still having trust issues about him. In the world of the Kais, she meets Gohan. Ecstatic to see him alive brings a tear to her eye, and Gohan is no different, rushing to each other to hug each other and express the love they had to each other vocally for the first time ever since they met in high school. Kibito is trying to steer the emotions away and getting them to train up. Having each other yet again allows them to train again, this time even harder. They must, in order to get everyone out of Buu and save the Earth. Speaking of Earth, Kibito goes to check upon it if to see nothing there, just a black void and nothing else. Buu already destroyed the Earth and is right behind Kibito, smirking and asking if he's looking for Earth, lifting his arm and pointing to the vastness of space. Kibito doesn't know how to react, so he keeps stoic and tells Buu that his terror is over with. But Buu lets him go, saying he cannot do shit even if he wanted to, disappearing into space looking for more things and people to destroy. Kibito comes back to tell the news, followed by the expected reaction of shock and fear of Buu. Kibito says they need to go further than ever in order to defeat Buu, even utilize their Zenkais to their power limit if needed. And so with that, Ulobord and Gohan began their training. The Z-Sword is pushed to its limit and they're using all of their might and beyond to get as powerful as possible. Kibito even tries his hand in creating Kachin to train them with it by throwing it. That works a few times, but one time they break the sword and Kibito is in disbelief. However, it wasn't in vain. Old Kai comes out and wonders what's going on. The trio looks in awe to what just happened. After the whole explanation, Old Kai opts to unlock their hidden potential. Ulobord and Gohan are happy to hear that and beg for the Old Kai to do it. However, they didn't know they have a Roshi knockoff to deal with in their hands, and he asks to touch Ulobord's chi-chis before even starting. Ulobord is not very nice towards that and declines the offer, saying there's bigger fish to fry than his horny ass desires and to just get on with it. Gohan, on the other hand, tells the Old Kai that he can come down on Earth and try his luck on the girls there. Ulobord is questioning Gohan's intention, but he gets them out of it as long as Gohan finds the right person. With that, they begin. Since Gohan got the deal going, he gets to go first and it's said to last 28 hours, which surprises the gang. But in either case, the ritual starts and Gohan gets pissed off at the Old Kai just like in canon, which for this time it surprises Ulo instead of Goku. Once Gohan is done and powers up, it's Ulo's turn. However, Old Kai stops her, saying that the ritual for her will take around 2 weeks from the amount of untapped potential she has. That widens the eyes of everyone there, not being able to comprehend as to what to say or do. Ulo is stunned that she has so much potential in her arsenal, wondering how to tap into all that. Old Kai has one way: fusion. He decides that those two can fuse in order to defeat Buu. Gohan and Ulo think about it, then agree to the fusion, asking how long does it last. Old Kai says forever, saying what he knows and kind of foreshadowing the events. That gets Gohan and Ulo a bit worried, but they still decide to fuse, thinking they can use the Dragon Balls to defuse when it's all over. Old Kai is a bit confused, but is still up for the idea. That all said, they are allowed to be transported back to Buu and fight. Kibito gives them his earrings to fuse, and they do. They put them on opposing ears, and they merge together. The sheer pressure of theirs makes Kibito and Old Kai blown away, literally. The fusion is complete, and we get Ulobohan, a combination of Ulobord and Gohan. The duo looks at the Kais and smiles, starting to yap about how the fusion feels nice, then wanting Kibito to transport them to where Buu is. Kibito searches for Buu and finds him on planet Namek of all places, so he takes them there. On Namek, Ulobohan is unsettled by the feeling of Buu being there, knowing he can wipe the planet out in mere seconds. Buu can be sensed far away, which Kibito says it's probably for the better. Kibito wishes them a good battle and easy victory. Ulobohan thanks him, and then they begin chasing towards Buu. They find him in a cave, so standing outside of it, they blow it up and Buu comes out, wondering who the new fighter might be. He notices he's similar to Gohan, but can't put his finger onto how is he so much more powerful and changed in less than half a week. Ulobohan says that it's not just one person in there, it's two, and that the second one is the one who tried killing herself to kill him. Buu recalls a battle with someone who was a Majin as well, a girl. He remembers her and sees a similarity in the eyes this time, wondering how is she alive. But Ulobohan stops him, saying that it's none of his concern and that his terror ends then and there. They start the battle and Ulobohan is quite proud of himself, having found some cockiness as a fusion. Buu decides that he should test his strength on them and charges at them at 1/4 of his power. Ulbohan sees it very easily, and after images, confusing Buu before Ulbohan gut punches him really hard and piercing through Buu. Buu went to turn around and got Ulbohan again, but Ulbohan spin kicked him into the ground. Buu was confused, not comprehending on how the two got so powerful, let alone merged together. Ulbohan is annoyed he's even asking that question, knowing he too merged, and kicks Buu in the head. Buu is taken aback by the attack, so he tries his candy beam, which Ulbohan blocks by forming a barrier around his hand and catching it. Ulbohan forms a ki blast and shoots it at Buu's antenna, destroying it, and the beam stops. Buu is getting angry, so much so that he tries every trick in the book, and each time they manage to get away from it and pack Buu back harder and harder. It keeps on going for a solid half an hour, and Ulbohan grew tired of Buu. He knew that at some point Buu will completely flip, so Ulbohan tries getting him to surrender. Buu sees he has no chance against this new warrior and that anything he does is futile. Just when he was about to give up, Ulbohan unfuses back to Gohan and Ulborid. Buu is confused but sees that as an opportunity and packs them both up. Buu starts taunting them how their little fusion isn't permanent, unlike his, and then now, once he absorbs them, he will be unstoppable. Gohan and Ulo are hella scared now, and so are Kibito and Old Kai. With that, Buu absorbs Ulo and Gohan, making them a part of him. The power increase he has gotten is way beyond anyone could have ever comprehended. Buu is now so full of himself, screaming to himself and telling them he wins and he will never bow down to anyone ever again. Though that was very short-lived. Buu starts getting massive stomach cramps and they're making him bend down in pain. Meanwhile, inside there's a whole nother type of bullshit going on. Ulborid is inside the cocoon and powering up, ripping the cocoon open. She keeps on going, starting a second atonement. This time it's everything she's got and beyond. All the pain, all the grief, all the failure, all put together into one gigantic power-up. She manages to even go Super Saiyan 3 with all that power, but she isn't stopping there. Buu is starting to get inflated like a balloon on the outside and is still in excruciating pain. Ulo's ki is already got so fucking massive that it started ripping Buu from the inside, releasing some that were captive. Gohan, Shin, and Piccolo were among the first. Gohan knew exactly what to do, and he too starts going at it. Ulo yells at him to go and save the rest, basically ordering him to do it. Gohan thinks for a moment, knowing she might die again, but goes along with it, stopping the power-up and starting to shoot out cocoons and even shooting out the one where Good Buu is. Okay, to clarify, since I didn't in the previous part, yes, Good Buu still exists. The evil side sealed him away inside his body because of his nature. Goku, Vegeta, and Shin pop out of Buu unconscious, while Buu became a literal balloon. With no one else fused to him, Ulo decides to make her exit too now that everyone is saved. Escaping with everyone, she tells Gohan and the rest to flee as she will take care of Buu. The rest go, while Ulo stands menacingly in Super Saiyan 3 and watching onto Buu changing. In no time, we see a much shorter version of Buu, standing and doing nothing. This is the birth or rebirth of Kid Buu, and this time there is no Good Buu to keep him company and prevent him from not killing. Ulo looked at Buu, still having plenty of fight left in her, and shooting a blast at Kid Buu. Buu turned around a bit too late and struggled with the blast, but he managed to get it away. But he then saw Ulo standing right in front of him, and Kid Buu got confused, but grins and tries attacking Ulo. But she easily after images and kicks him off planet. They decide to fight in a near vacuum, and Ulo is having a hard time breathing while Buu is having no struggle at all. Ulo is starting to beat the absolute shit out of Buu, trying every trick to get rid of him, but he just keeps regenerating. She then remembers Cell and his ability and thinks maybe it's the same case here, but she has to finish the job quickly because she's losing breath and stamina. However, a plot twist happens. Every time Ulo tries something to charge up a blast, Buu intercepts and cancels the attempt. Buying time doesn't work for Ulo either, and she's losing strength at this point too. She goes for one last punch before going back to base and fainting, starting to fall back down to Namek. The gang on Namek is scared as to what to do, but Goku does have an idea. He's going to use the Spirit Bomb and destroy Buu that way. Goku starts charging up and telling everyone to share all the power they can. So everyone that is present there, including the Namekians, are sharing their power. Old Kai and Kibito, who have been watching through a crystal ball, do so too. Goku is collecting the energy, but Buu is charging a blast of his own. Buu shoots his blast and is starting to descend towards the planet fast. Bulma decides to go Super Saiyan 3 with all the energy she's got and tries stopping it, but she's getting pushed back by it due to the lack of energy. Bulma tries stalling for as long as possible, but to no avail. Vegeta comes to aid to help his wife and they both push hard, but they only manage to hold it in place. Goku charges up the attack and throws it high in the air, telling Vegeta and Bulma to get out of the way. They do, and the attack connects straight onto Buu's and the two power balls clash. However, the Spirit Bomb is just barely making a dent, so all Buu did is pour even more power into his to push the bomb back. There is no hope left, as the attack is coming closer and closer. However, Ulo jumps in. She's rushing, using up whatever is left of her power and strength to go Super Saiyan 3. She enters the Spirit Bomb despite Goku yelling not to do it. Inside the attack, Ulo is trying to push the attack, but can't with all her energy. She does feel a massive surge of ki from within. She's actually absorbing the Spirit Bomb, and she takes that opportunity to do it. By some miracle, she has a pure heart in this moment, and it allowed her to go and absorb every last drop of the Spirit Bomb. The Spirit Bomb shrinks and becomes only a few meters big, before breaking apart to see Ulobord screaming bloody murder. Ulobord is now extremely muscular, lost her irises and looking at Buu menacingly, but slowly gaining her irises back. She cancels Buu's attack instantly and starts charging up her own. Buu is trying everything he can to somehow hurt Ulo, but nothing works. Ulo kicks Buu away and shoots a massive galley gun right at Buu. It disintegrates him in mere seconds, and the wave intensity is larger than the fusion itself. Buu is now destroyed for good, and Ulo wasted the entire energy pool of her Spirit Bomb she absorbed. She faints yet again and drops down. Bulma goes to catch her, but Vegeta flies by sooner and makes a soft landing with his adopted daughter in hand. Gohan rushes over, worried for his girl and checking up on her. Vegeta lies Ulo down, telling Gohan she's alive. Gohan is relieved to hear that and everyone gathers around Ulo. Ulo awakens and is confused, with everyone cheering to Ulo coming back. Ulo thanks Goku for the Spirit Bomb, with Goku laughing. Shin thanks everyone for defeating Buu, saying he has a debt to pay, snapping down and falling on the ground, basically dying. Everyone is confused at Shin, but Gohan, who looks at Ulo's halo disappearing and Ulo coming back to the living world. With that, the menace is destroyed and the Z fighters can now live in peace. Oh, and also Shin is alive, just has a halo of his own, just like the old Kai did. It's been a couple of months since Buu, and it's been pretty much calm on now restored Earth. The Breeze family is training hard and pushing limits, as well as the Sun family. However, Ulo and Gohan are settled in a big-ass house now instead of an apartment, as they had decided to get married. It's all peace and quiet, but what they don't know is that danger is yet to come to Earth. Beerus the Destroyer awakens after sleeping for a couple decades in seek of the Super Saiyan God. Now, even though he just dreamt of it, he quickly forgot and had to find a way to get the intel back. He asked the Oracle about it and got the information he needed. With all that done, he asked Whis about the surviving Saiyans, and Whis gladly gave an answer. He says a Saiyan named Goku defeated Frieza with someone else called Bulma who aided him. He states that the girl wasn't originally Saiyan and used the Dragon Balls to turn herself into one a couple dozen years back. There is also Goku's brother Raditz and Prince Vegeta. The most interesting of all is a genetically modified Saiyan called Ulobord, who also joined them. There are also some hybrid Saiyans there as well, he mentions. Beerus is interested in going and to ask the original Saiyans about the Super Saiyan God, since they're the only ones that may know something about it. Whis begins packing lunch for the two of them while Beerus contemplates on his tree stump before they depart. While on their way there, Shin warns Goku and Vegeta about a destroyer god coming their way and telling them of the danger they may be in if he's even slightly ticked off. Goku is excited to meet him while Vegeta is wondering where did he hear the name Beerus before. In the meantime, Beerus was wondering about the whole scandal of Shin sacrificing himself and he visits the Kai's world first. Shin and the old Kai are very scared as to what he will do, but Beerus only had that one question. Shin explains that a mortal named Uluborid has defeated Majin Buu all on her own after absorbing all of the Saiyan's ki. Beerus is quite delighted with the answer and lets the Kais at peace, knowing that Majin Buu is no more. On Earth, Goku and Vegeta are impatiently waiting for Beerus to arrive. They didn't tell anyone anything about the current ordeal at hand, and they intentionally keep it hush-hush to prevent the rest from being idiots. Bulma's birthday isn't on a yacht, but a small, over-the-top tournament of fighters, where anyone who signs up gets to fight and whoever wins gets the Dragon Balls. So that starts and no forms are allowed to have a fair fight. So the first round starts and Krillin and Tien start off because they wanted to see where they stand against each other. It was quite the show until Beerus arrived to crash the party. Everyone got into a stance ready for battle for real, but Vegeta starts panicking, saying that's his friend he invited to Bulma's party to save everyone there. Beerus and Whis were satisfied and the rest calmed down and welcomed Beerus with open arms. The battle continued while Beerus watched on, commenting and guiding the two humans in the fight, giving them small clues. Goku couldn't hold back and asked Beerus about his power. Beerus was intrigued on the fact someone is so bold and brave to ask him that. Goku comments how he must be suppressing and that he can feel his pressure, knowing he's strong, and maybe if he'd like to go for a round in a match. Beerus accepts the challenge and Goku is more than happy, but Vegeta pulled him aside, asking him if he smoked anything today. But Goku says that he's actually quite chill and that he accepted the proposal. Vegeta reminds him that Beerus is extremely powerful, and as much as he wants to go against him, he has short temper and is easily ticked off. Goku knows, telling Vegeta to loosen up. After a few more battles, it was Goku versus Beerus, and Beerus wanted to show Goku why he's not to be messed with, but at the same time, he doesn't want to reveal his power, so he gets into a stance. Goku does the same and the fight begins. The two powerhouses go at it with all they've got, quote-unquote, and are seemingly on par with each other. After a short skirmish, Beerus asks Goku about the Super Saiyan God, which kind of throws Goku off. Beerus stops asking a legitimate question and Goku answers that he knows of the regular Super Saiyan 1, 2, and 3, but not a God state. He may be able to ask someone who does know though. Beerus isn't particularly satisfied, but looks forward to finding that Super Saiyan God. On second thought, Beerus asks Goku to go all out of those Super Saiyan forms he just named, and Goku is thrown back yet again. He says that the rule is no forms, but Beerus wants to lift that rule to see where Goku really stands. Bulma allows it to happen this once, and they start off with it. Goku displays the Super Saiyan forms gradually, showing Super Saiyan first, then Super Saiyan 2, and then for the grand finale, the Super Saiyan 3. Beerus is quite impressed, wanting to battle Goku in his most powerful state. Goku says it won't be easy, but Beerus tells him to trust him. So Goku does, swinging at the Destroyer God like he means it. Beerus easily evades and is seen behind Goku, who is confused and slowly turning around in disbelief. Vegeta is shaking his head in disappointment while the rest see the power of Beerus. Goku tries that a few more times, but he can't seem to hit Beerus or even graze him like he did in base. Beerus then screams for Vegeta and asking him about the Super Saiyan God. Vegeta looks in confusion, then tells Beerus that he knows of no such person, and if there was, he would have known by now. Beerus takes that answer in, saying oh well, and bursts his destroyer aura, flying up in the air and showing Goku what his real power is. Ulobori took her nice clothes off, saying she'd like to fight next. Goku starts bitching, telling her it's not her turn yet, but Ula tells him that he's getting cooked either way and that she wants to take a crack at him. Goku leaves the stage in disappointment and Ula goes into her full power Super Saiyan 3 and looking at Beerus with a smile. Beerus sees that she's a dozen times stronger than Goku or so he gives her a shot. Ula is cautious, trying to read Beerus' movements, however she can't move. She tries all she wants but she's not budging. Beerus gives her a smile and that ticks her off. But then she starts calming down and then closing her eyes. Beerus doesn't know what she's aiming for, but then she airbends a punch in Beerus' stomach. Beerus is amazed but ticked off himself now. So he rushes and Ula has no time to react, as she gets disposed of rather easily and thrown back into base. Beerus is now pissed and willing to destroy the planet, but Bulma intercepts to tell him that he's a bitch and that if he needs this Super Saiyan God, she would just summon Shenron to deal with that. Beerus is intrigued, so he lets that happen. Back at Capsule Corp, Bulma gets the Dragon Balls and summons the dragon. Shenron is summoned and asks for the wish. Bulma asks to bring the Super Saiyan God to Earth, more specifically to Beerus. Shenron starts shitting his pants, so Beerus makes his existence there known, telling Shenron to get on with it. Shenron gives Beerus the canon answer. The Super Saiyan God doesn't exist, but can be created with 5 righteous Saiyans pouring their energy into one. Goku kind of gets it, so they gather around and debating on who should be that Super Saiyan God. Ula says she's the most powerful out of the bunch, since it's just a form in a way, she will be able to harness more power than any of them. The Saiyans agree, and then they were about to begin, but Bulma mentions how it's supposed to be 6, not 5, since 5 pouring energy into 1. That mistake is easily corrected and the ritual begins. So Goku, Vegeta, Bulma, Raditz, and Gohan all pour their energy into Ulobori. As soon as it begins, the scenery shifts all over the place, and after a good few minutes, we get a good look at Super Saiyan God Ulobori. She is immensely more powerful compared to before, but compared to Goku, she still remains looking the same. Beerus can sense God Ki from Ula, and Ula is just looking at her new power, astonished and feeling pretty good about it. Beerus is ready and engages the fight. Beerus goes for a simple punch, but Ula easily blocks it. She sees that she got so much faster from it and that she might need to take some time getting used to it. Beerus is getting hooked, and so is Ula, so they take it further above to display a bit more power of their own to each other. Beerus starts packing up the still unused Ula, trying her best to get used to it all, but try as she might, she needs more time. She buys that time eventually and starts packing Beerus back instead, to which Beerus is getting fired up and wanting more action. They start taking it up further and further, going higher in energy too, and they are battling for real. Each party is trading blows with the other, and the winner is unpredictable as of now. Beerus powers up yet again, and Ula is back to being outmatched, trying to adapt to the current battle dynamic. Luckily for her, that happens quite fast, and she's back to trading blows with Beerus. After which, the two powerhouses take the battle higher up into the stratosphere. Beerus is amazed at Ulobori's latent ability, surprising that a Super Saiyan God will be that powerful. He wanted to fight to continue and go for a bit more before he goes into a higher power. Ula is holding her own, giving it her all, and letting the borrowed power of Super Saiyan God get her to greater and greater heights. Ulobori powers up once more and starts throwing mad hits at Beerus. Beerus is smiling and Ula is totally confused at what, but it's all justified when Beerus powers up a massive key ball above his head and throws it at Ula. Ula watches on, mortified at the view and doubting her ability to counter the attack. She still tries using the Kamehameha taught by her husband Gohan, and she keeps it firmly at place. What she doesn't know is that Beerus' power is way beyond hers, and Beerus flicks it harder and amping its energy output even more, nearly double. This is where Ulobor struggles with the energy ball and is trying her best to hold it off, but her Super Saiyan God isn't being cooperative. However, she does learn a thing about it. The energy she feels, the power she harnesses, it's all a special property, a different type of ki, and she now isn't in control of it, able to use more of its power and push the limit. Beerus is astonished to see that Ulobor has managed to do that all on her own and respecting the young woman for her feat. However, this is where things turn. Ulobor's second thing she manages to adapt to, sensing that God ki. She can sense Beerus, the power of his ki ball and so many other things harnessing such a property as God ki. She isn't mortified anymore. She's ready to collapse from being terrified. Beerus senses the distress and cancels the attack, looking at Ulobor tremble in fear. Beerus asks Ulo about what she's thinking about, and Ulo mutters something about Beerus' power. Beerus takes a second to realize it and compassionately smiles at Ulo, telling her that now that she knows his power to keep it under wraps from others and to say that she defeated him. Ulo, who already went out of her Super Saiyan God, says that it's not what she wants out of this fight. She wants to beat him fair and square, to know she at least managed to get Beerus down a little bit. Bringing that fire aura right back up, she wants to surpass her limits. Beerus watches on in amazement to her dedication to win and sees why she was the one to defeat Majin Buu. Ulo starts slowly glowing blue as her aura also starts to change, screaming like never before and momentarily transforming into something not seen yet. Vegeta, who already got a neck cramp by now, widens his eyes at the display of it and lowering his crossed arms. Whis is also intrigued at the view, wondering on the power-up and what it actually is. But before anyone else caught a solid glimpse of the form, she goes back to base completely drained. Beerus catches her and looks at planet Earth. He's amazed someone like this existed on it. What gave him extra kudos is the amazing and delicious food that exists on it too. So seeing she's still breathing, Beerus tosses her into an ocean along with himself to make it seem like a draw to everyone. Ulo falls in the water, knowing she's doomed along with the world she swore she will protect so dearly. Family she just managed to form. Friends she has grown to like. She started absorbing the surrounding energy much like she did with Goku's Spirit Bomb. Beerus has crashed down, deeming himself defeated. Whis knew he's not, but played along due to Beerus' respect towards the Saiyans. Ula then comes out of the water, holding a Spirit Bomb in the air with her arms. She smiles and absorbs the rest of the Spirit Bomb. That managed to get her energy back, and she easily went back into the God power of Super Saiyan God, then started transforming back into the blue form. She succeeds and attacks Beerus, landing a punch on him. He decides to go and power up once more, attacking Ulo for real. She gets punched, but she eats that punch much like Vegeta did after seeing Bulma get slapped. She throws a punch back, throwing Beerus back along with it. Whis looks at Ulo, seeing the drawbacks of the new form and the high stamina drain. Ulo isn't used to such a power yet, and God Ki is draining too much from her on its own, let alone this new power-up, so Ulo, despite her having a full stamina and Ki, she's already losing a vast majority of it. Knowing she can't keep it up for long, and her aura bursting in and out, transitioning into the fire aura of Super Saiyan God. Beerus sees that Ulo is losing the vast amount of energy she absorbed, and she goes back to base. She's worn down and tells Beerus to get on with it, how she failed and deserves what comes next. Beerus is astonished, a mortal letting him to do to his pleasing. Beerus zips to Ulo, looking her dead in the eyes, and Ulo is just waiting for her death, no emotion whatsoever. However, Beerus places his hand on Ulo's shoulder, showing compassion to her and her respect for battle, as well as her power. Ula's really confused as to what Beerus is saying, but Beerus smiles. For the first time, we see Beerus' soft side for the first time. Vegeta looks on, seeing his little girl befriending a ruthless destroyer. Ulo can't help but fall into Beerus' chest from exhaustion. Beerus catches her and slowly descends down. He's quite impressed with the fight, deciding not to doom the planet, simply because the Saiyan girl displayed powers, adapted to them, and even went further beyond. Ulobord awakens, seeing everyone around her smiling. Bulma is even shedding tears of joy and happiness, taking pride in her adopted daughter doing all of that. Ulo says that this was probably the best and last fight she's had so far, at least for the next few months. Everyone is confused hearing Ulo saying she won't fight for a little while, asking what does that mean. Ulo says that Gohan and her did some other kinds of training too. Gohan processes it and gives off a surprised look. Goku is surprised as much as his son is, Bulma faints, and the rest cheer on to Ulobord's pregnancy. Gohan goes over to Ulo and hugs her, surprised that he's gonna become a father. Ulo smiles, saying she would hug back if she had strength left in her. Bulma is being treated by Vegeta, who gets her back up to consciousness. She too is also surprised, probably several times more than the rest. Beerus and Whis decide to stay for the rest of Bulma's birthday, which turned into a congratulations party for Gohan and Ulo real fast. Since she was drained of all power, she gets to be the spectator of the fights. Even Whis comes into fight, quote-unquote, and even teaches a thing or two to his opponents. He mentions that he's indeed Beerus' teacher as well as attendant, which surprises everyone. Whis tells them that their skills are quite nice, but they still lack control. Vegeta wants to step up and ask, but at the same time, he doesn't want to seek help to get stronger. Rather, he keeps it to himself and swears to find a way on his own. Bulma also wants to ask, but Ulo already knows how to go Super Saiyan and plans on training with her. Goku thinks the same. Gohan already has training privileges from her, so he too decides to train up with her too. A few days since the Beerus incident and the tourney, Goku comes up over to Capsule Corp, asking for Ulo. Bulma says she's out back and Goku goes there. Upon arriving, he greets Ulo and starts asking questions out of hype. He first asks about the feeling of a Super Saiyan God, and Ulo explains it as a calm feeling washing over. Nothing like the regular Super Saiyan forms they're used to, so it takes a while to get used to it. Goku then asks about the spirit bomb she cooked up a while back after getting drained. Ulo says she doesn't know, that she just wanted to have a tad bit more energy to prove her worth, hence why it all happened. Goku was astonished to hear about it and wanted Ulo to train with him to achieve the same power too. Ulo says it's quite weird to get into, but she would try her best to come and teach him. Bulma, on the other hand, was visited by Whis because he wanted to taste good food, periodically coming by and eating behind Beerus' back while he slept. Bulma asked Whis if she can be taught a thing or two Beerus was taught too. Whis says sure without second thought, so Bulma goes over to Vegeta to tell him that she's going on a small excursion with Jocko in space to conceal some details. Vegeta doesn't care and is more inclined on getting that Super Saiyan God power like Ulo did, finally being prompted to ask Ulo, who is already training Goku and Gohan. Bulma arrives on Beerus' world and all is nice and calm. She likes the scenery very much and starts walking around. However, Whis tells her that she needs to train hard and follow a set of rules in order to continue training. Bulma is okay with that and gets introduced with the rules and chores. Meanwhile, on Earth, Ulobord invites the gang to Capsule Corp while Bulma is absent, and so Vegeta and Goku train together, with Ulo as their teacher. Ulo teaches them proper control of their ki in order to access it first. It's very bare bones, so they take a while to get used to it, but they manage. Goku is the first to achieve the God power, and Vegeta became jealous, so he worked harder. Ulo mentions how training together won't make a difference and to focus on controlling his energy. And in no time, he too ascends. Though they both have trouble, they try figuring it out on the fly. Back to Bulma, she's learning actual proper control from Whis and catches wind of it real fast. She manages to even hold the form for quite some time, but is more intrigued on the blue form. She dubs it as Super Saiyan Blue because of the color, coincidentally the same as the gang on Earth. Whis decides to take a break and go to Earth, having short supplies of food and wanting more. Bulma is perfectly fine with that and the two head back to Earth. Over there, Whis and Bulma arrive and all three Saiyans see her landing with Whis. Vegeta screams, asking for an explanation. Bulma tells him to calm down and tells him she didn't actually go with Jaco but with Whis to go train with him to get the form. Goku is stunned and so is Ula, while Vegeta is pissed that his wife went to train on her own and without asking him to. Bulma says that since he said that he will train with Ula, so she went to ask Whis as to not crowd them all. Vegeta is still angry but understands, scoffing. Bulma asks for Ula, but Ula is already behind her, tapping her shoulder. Bulma turns around and Ula punches her, telling her she didn't even say a word to her and just dipped. Bulma smiles, ready to punch back, but sees a little nubbin on her stomach, forcing her to pull the punch. Bulma comments her baby belly, teasingly and softly backhanding her in the face. Ula isn't terribly happy with Bulma's disappearing all of a sudden, but says whatever and asks if she even learned anything while at Beerus' world. Bulma smiles, going Super Saiyan Blue without even trying. Ula is quite surprised at Bulma's new ability, sensing her power and seeing she wasn't just messing around. She senses that Bulma is leagues above, congratulating her and asking for a small spar. Bulma doesn't really want to fight her while Ula is pregnant, but her Saiyan instincts soon take over and puts a bet on her session. Ula transforms into her Super Saiyan Blue as well, and they start off with a bang. However, it's nothing much as both of them are scared to hurt the baby. Goku, on the other hand, has a weird feeling like something's about to happen. Vegeta shares that same feeling, thinking that something could happen, but rule it out as just being idiotic. Goku agrees and they resume watching the sparring session. However, the bad feeling may actually be justified when the Frieza Force decides to revive Frieza once more. However, knowing they can't go to Earth anymore because of the Saiyans being there and ready at any moment to take them down, they decide to opt for going to Namek. They travel there and force the Namekians for the Dragon Balls. Namekians would rather die than just give up the Dragon Balls, so they say that. Frieza Force members aren't terribly surprised and kill off each village in search of the said Dragon Balls. By the time they're done, the entire planet is extinct and they have possession of the Dragon Balls. The only person they left alive is the Guardian because they know if he dies, then so do the Dragon Balls. They summon the dragon and wish Frieza back to life. Porunga brings him back in pieces and has only one wish left due to the revival. So the gang wishes to put Frieza back together to his normal body. Porunga does that too, and Frieza is now back alive for real. Frieza looks around the planet, glad he's back. Considering that they revived him with the Namekian Dragon Balls, he decides not to destroy the planet this time around and flees with his men, leaving Mori the only Namekian to exist on Namek. Dende is mortified back on Earth, feeling the wiping of the Namekians but isn't sure who it might be. He tells Piccolo about it through telepathy and Piccolo too is surprised about that. Since he's already with the Saiyans, he goes to tell them. He's reluctant at first, but Ula figures out he doesn't want a burden. Piccolo tells them the entirety of planet Namek is wiped, leaving only the planet intact. Dende rushes over, saying the same thing as well as telling them only Mori remains as the only Namekian on the planet. Goku and Vegeta are worried now, thinking back to the bad feeling they had and wondering if it's that. The gang wonders who would do such a thing. Vegeta immediately rules out Frieza, saying that Frieza destroys the planet directly and leaving no one alive. Goku says Frieza has been killed anyway, but does leave the chance of the Namekian Dragon Balls reviving him and sparing the planet for further wishes. Vegeta thinks about it, saying it could be a possibility but it's unlikely. The rest decide to instant transmission to Namek with the help from Goku, and on Namek they look around and see Mori defeated and mourning. Bulma comes by asking who did it and Mori says Frieza. Vegeta scoffs while Goku says he had a good hunch about Frieza doing it and asks if Mori knows his whereabouts. Mori denies knowing where Frieza is, saying he came back and left, telling him that this is his mercy and leaving. Goku and Vegeta now know what they're up against and decide to train up. Frieza in the meantime visits Earth and straight up destroys it out of anger and considering the Saiyans fully extinct, laughing maniacally and commenting how there will be no more Saiyans to thwart his plans any longer. Goku and Vegeta sense it all and decide to go there, while Ulo is seething because everyone she knew there has died. Meanwhile, as Frieza is laughing to himself, he gets socked in the face by Gohan, who survived the explosion due to his massive power level and escaping in the nick of time, breathing one last big huff of air before leaving the planet. Frieza is surprised and wondering on who it might be. Comparing the gaze between the young Gohan and the present one, he realizes it all. Gohan has none of it and powers up to his mystic power and lands a few hits on Frieza. Due to being in a lack of air, he starts losing breath, beating Frieza up to a bloody pulp and having the power up. Usually he would last a lot longer if it weren't for the mystic form. Gohan faints and Frieza points a death ray at him, considering it quits, but Goku and Vegeta come in clutch at just the right time to save him and take him back to Namek. Vegeta stays there, transforming into a Super Saiyan and telling Frieza his tyranny is over. Frieza is completely terrified to Vegeta having the Super Saiyan form, seeing the same menacing look that Goku and Trunks gave him. Vegeta then has his pride talk, saying he was a Super Saiyan for years now, and that now that he is, he just wanted to hurt Frieza's ego first before killing him off, going back to base and rushing the Tyrant. Frieza can't fend off against Vegeta, and Frieza gets pummeled all around in the vastness of space. Vegeta though has to exert a whole lot more effort in moving in a vacuum and is getting frustrated by that. Frieza tries shooting a death ray at Vegeta, which does hit Vegeta on the shoulder and he writhes in pain, but doesn't drop his guard down, as he teleports behind Frieza and waiting on him to turn around for Vegeta to decapitate him, killing him instantly. His blood spilled everywhere and just in time for Goku to instant transmission back and witness Vegeta absolutely destroying what's left of Frieza before he too faints from lack of oxygen. Goku takes him and brings him back to Namek. On Namek, Gohan is already there asking how long do the Namekian Dragon Balls take to come back to be used again, and Moro says 1 Namekian year, in their terms about a third of their full Earth year. Whis wonders if the Super Dragon Balls are anywhere near and suggests that, though their location is yet unknown. Bulma says she can make a radar that can track them, so they find them in no time. Whis asks how, and Bulma mentions she built a tracking device for the Earth's Dragon Balls a long time ago and that just amplifying the old design won't take long. Whis says she will need to amplify to track the entire universe. Maybe even both Universe 6 and 7, if possible. Everyone's confused about there being multiple universes, so Whis explains it all. The gang now understand more about the cosmos and wish to visit the other universes someday. In either case, with no home, they opt to stay on Namek until Bulma asks Whis to crash on Beerus' world until the Namekian Dragon Balls can be used again. Whis sees no issue and welcomes anyone willing to train to do so with them as well. The Saiyans are excited and they go along with Whis to Beerus' world. On the Beerus' world, the gang looks around, having similar impressions as Bulma on the place. With the entire Earth being wiped from face of the cosmos, the gang has to wait for the Namekian Dragon Balls to recharge. So in the meantime, they go train with Bulma and Whis. Whis takes them all in as apprentices and begins teaching them how to use their newfound powers properly. However, that awakens Beerus, and Beerus gets mad at everyone there. Lord looks at Beerus going Super Saiyan Blue and telling him that Earth is no more, so if he wants his delicious treats, he needs to be a good pussycat and let them stay, as they got nowhere else to stay while they're waiting for the Dragon Balls. Beerus gets angry at the taunt but realizes what happened and lets them stay. So for the next couple months, Beerus has to endure a bunch of punch-happy fools training on his home planet. In the meantime, the Frieza force that remained hidden saw the end of Frieza, and it was none other than by Vegeta himself, who displayed Super Saiyan right in front of Frieza. These guys knew they had no chance and that it was a waste, but they also knew that Namek is under high protection by the Saiyans now that they too have visited. So they gotta find a better plan to get Frieza back, if even possible. So they decide to wander around for a bit more longer. We skip to when it's almost time for the Dragon Balls to be reused. Goku and Vegeta manage to surpass both Ulo and Bulma. Their power level is now on par with their Tournament of Power selves, while Ulo and Bulma are almost the same. Ulo is a bit stronger than Bulma though. Ulo and Bulma kept to themselves for the majority of it, because Ulo didn't want to train with the same master as Beerus has, so she sought help from Bulma instead. All of a sudden, something crashes in the distance. Beerus is wondering who it might be, but he quickly realizes it. Everyone else is straight up confused. Beerus and Champa confront each other, aura around them shifts, and everyone there feels the pressure of two destroyers. Later on, in the dining room, Champa came by with some sort of eggs for Beerus to try. Since Beerus never tried eggs like that before, he enjoys them. He finishes the egg and asks Whis if he still has the earth supplies. Whis says he does, and so he whips out a gourmet steak. Champa smells it and can't wait to dig in, however concealing it. Once the plate got to him, he went straight for it. He finished it faster than both Beerus and Whis did, and Beerus started teasing his brother, who denies its amazing taste. Champa then asks where he gets such an amazing meat, and Beerus said where and what happened to that planet, as well as the fact that the Saiyans came from it. Champa immediately searches for it, and Vado sees a deserted planet, which makes Beerus prideful that Champa isn't gonna get the good stuff. Champa is mad, but says whatever. He asks the Saiyans to drop by Universe 6 and go live there on their planet of Saiyans. He then says goodbye and departs from the planet. As much as the Saiyans want to go there, they had families there and an overall good spirit off Earth, so they decline it amongst each other. And with only 3 days until the Dragon Balls become active again, all they can do is visit Universe 6 and talk to the Saiyans of their universe. So they decide to go, having nothing better to do. Whis takes them for a ride, and even though it takes a while, they get there. They land on planet Sadala and look around it, seeing a developed society. Vegeta and Raditz see their real home planet, how it used to be. The rest are amazed at the infrastructure and everything. All of a sudden, they're jumped by a group of thugs, whom they've easily evaded and ask questions. From the bunch comes out a girl, standing on top of the house and staring at the rest. She asks who they are and what they're doing here. Goku just says they're visiting and want to look around. She says they're in the wrong part of Sadala and better get out of there before she beats the hell out of them. Bulma steps in, saying to go come pick someone her own size instead, meaning it literally instead of figuratively. The girl says she's glad the great Caulifla is challenged and steps forward. Bulma asks to ask a question, and once she's accepted, Bulma asks if she can go Super Saiyan to skip warm-ups. Caulifla is confused, asking what does she need Super Saiyan for. Bulma immediately goes Super Saiyan and tells Caulifla to step aside and show them around the planet instead, to which Caulifla immediately says yes. But there's a catch. She will show them around only if they teach her how to transform into a Super Saiyan as well. Bulma is taken aback but accepts the proposal. Ulo sees someone hiding, yet another Saiyan girl, and she smiles at her. The girl immediately shies out and hides again. Caulifla calls out for her and introduces Kale to the rest of the gang. Kale shyly says hi and recluses back. Ulo sees herself in her and looks at her, having the same shyness as Kale. Kale glances over here and there, but Ulo looks the other way. Neither one of them is willing to go to each other to speak. Caulifla starts showing the gang around, and Ulo gets left behind, so she comically runs back to the group. Kale follows at a distance and carefully observing everything, while Caulifla shows around. Kaba slides by and meets up with the Saiyans and wondering where they're from. Whis carefully explains that they're actually from Universe 7 and they decided to visit while their home planet awaits revival. Kaba asks about it all, and Vegeta elaborates how a tyrant in their universe has destroyed their new home planet, and now that he's killed him for good, they're waiting for the Dragon Balls to become active again. Kaba didn't understand the last part, but he doesn't want to ask either. Caulifla then butts in, saying these Saiyans can go Super Saiyan and that once she shows them around, she will be taught how to do so as well. Cabba's interest spikes and he asks Vegeta whether it's true or not, and Vegeta replies that his wife Bulma is handling the operation, not him. Cabba respects Vegeta's word and goes along with Caulifla. Ulo gets quite excited about everything and looks around, excited about everything there and simply sightseeing. After it all, Whis says that they should head back to wish for Earth back. Caulifla asks about training to attain Super Saiyan, and Ulo just says that she can get that female angel of theirs to take them to Earth so they get their training as they're in a rush to restore it. Caulifla is fine by that, and with that, Whis takes the Saiyans back to Universe 7 and to Namek just in time for the Dragon Balls to turn back from stone. Moro asks if their wish is still the same, and they confirm, and so they get on wishing Earth back. They summon Porunga and ask Porunga to restore Earth back to how it was used to being before Frieza destroyed it. Porunga grants that wish and everything gets restored back to normal. With that done, they go back to Earth and start training harder than ever. Goku first goes to Chi-Chi and Goten, hugging them both tightly. The rest just settle back in and start training. It's been a while since anything happened. Saiyans are still training hard and occasionally meet up for a sparring session. The Saiyans from Universe 6 drop by too, with Champa and Vados, so Caulifla and Kale and Cabba are trained up to become Super Saiyan. Each of them takes on one of their Saiyans. Caulifla is trained by Bulma, Vegeta trains Cabba, and Ulobore trains Kale. Caulifla and Cabba are naturals at it and get it down pretty fast. However, Kale isn't too successful with it. She tries and gets the technique down how it's explained by Caulifla and Cabba, but she can't get herself to transform. Vegeta blames Ulo for her poor communication skills, but Ulo starts a fight with him instead. Kale gets saddened and tries to stop them until she begins crying and blaming herself. That was the necessary thing she needed in order to transform. She, however, goes into her berserker state, which is not very controllable, and she isn't aware of what she's doing. Ulo goes over to help, but she gets put down. Ulo knows the state and uses her own berserker power-up, which stops Kale for a second, but she can't get her to the words and starts attacking Ulo instead. Ulo can't fight at that state she's in due to the pregnancy, so she evades the attacks to the best of her ability. Gohan jumps in, going into his mystic power and trying something, but it doesn't work that well and he's also introduced to the ground. That's where Bulma steps in with her Super Saiyan Blue and kicks Kale away, telling her to get back to her senses, which only manages to piss Kale off more. They try their best, but Caulifla then steps in and tries to calm her down. Kale gets calm enough to faint and get out of her Super Saiyan form and back to base. Kale wakes up, all groggy, and starts apologizing for her behavior. Caulifla says it's fine and nothing terrible happened. All of a sudden, something crashes in the yard of Capsule Corp very heavily, leaving a cloud of dust in the surrounding area. Everyone goes to check it out, thinking it could be Champa coming back to pick the Saiyans up and not being careful enough landing on Earth and destroying the lawn. But to their surprise, it's not Champa, it's a time machine, with future Trunks in it. Everyone is confused as to what's going on, the Universe 6 Saiyans even more so. Bulma explains how this is their son that came from the future, probably needing some help seeing his condition. Since everyone is on Earth, in this case, the gang doesn't need some instant transmission mock-ups to get to Earth. Trunks is pulled out and set on a bench to get his shit together while Goku gets the senzu bean. Once the senzu bean comes by and Trunks sees it, he awakens and sees Goku. Getting furious, he attacks Goku, but Bulma attacks Trunks back and berating her son. Trunks gets back to his senses and sees it's just Goku, saying that thankfully it's not Black. Confused, the gang demands answers. On that same bench, with everyone around, Trunks elaborates how someone appeared in the future named Goku Black, who looks exactly like Goku and even claims to be him. His mission? To destroy all mortal life on the planet for his quote-unquote utopia, and to cleanse the cosmos. Vados and Champa come at the moment, wanting to take back their universe's Saiyans, and as they're about to leave, a rift opens. Goku Black comes out of it and looks around, seeing all the Saiyans in one place and wondering how is it possible that all of them are still alive and how Ultraboard and her darling Gohan should not exist. That confuses everyone, but Trunks doesn't play games and goes into a stance. Vados comments on Black's index finger, which contains a time ring. Champa replies with the legality of it, saying that shouldn't be possible with a mortal involved. Before anything happens, Goku and Bulma are already on Black's ass and wanting to fight. They bicker for a little while, but Bulma gets a pass to fight. Bulma stands face to face with Black, and the first thing she asks him is who is he, and Black responds that he's Goku Black. Surprise. And that he came here to rid this world of pests too, now that he'd been pulled through time. Bulma doesn't let him do that and jumps to her Super Saiyan to fight him, with Black powering up as well. The battle starts and the two are seeming pretty even, Bulma going a bit harder and surpassing Black by a small margin. However, after some time, Black adapts and powers up even more and surprising Bulma as well as the others. Bulma is forced to go into a higher power of Super Saiyan 2 and goes at it with Black, just fighting Black and gauging his power. Black is pretty powerful, being in a league of his own, but the power-ups he gets are closer to Ulo's hasty ability to adapt as the fight progresses. Bulma is amazed at his ability and milks the fight for as long as possible, trying her best to see what's so special about this new foe. But just as it is about to get interesting, Goku Black gets pulled back into the rift slowly, losing energy in the process. He struggles with it and tries to make the best of it, while Bulma counterattacks. Black notices a time machine sitting there, so he tries to blast it away. As everyone is just watching on, Caulifla uses her own Super Saiyan form to get in front and kick the blast back at him, which knocks him back into his rift and back into the future. The rift closes and the battle ends. Bulma and Caulifla go back to base and join back to the group. Trunks thanks Caulifla for the help, though Vado says she shouldn't have done this as time travel is a massive taboo with deities. When asked to elaborate by Bulma, Champa explains that time travel is forbidden amongst most deities and that only Supreme Kai are allowed to do so, using a tool called a time ring that allows two Kais to travel through time about 1,000 years in past and future. And the fact that a mortal was able to use a time ring is weird on its own. Bulma wonders if it's just some Supreme Kai in Goku's body, to which Vados agrees. Vados says she contacted Whis about it all, and that him and Beerus will arrive here at any second, as it's not their matter to discuss or get involved in. Taking the Universe 6 Saiyans, they tell their goodbyes and depart to Universe 6. Not long after, Beerus and Whis arrive and start questioning on the matter. Bulma explains it all, with future Trunks elaborating with the future and how it's so bad. Whis says the same shit that Vado said, with Beerus telling the gang they should destroy the time machine. Bulma says not to do so, with Beerus starting to threaten her if she doesn't comply. Ulo agrees with Bulma, saying they should go in the future to investigate. Beerus is surprised they even suggested such a thing, but Whis replies how that may just be a smart idea, because if it happened there first, then better to prevent it here too. Vegeta decides to go with Goku into the future, but Bulma says no. She says she will have to go with either one of them, since she fought Black first time. Goku says he's tagging along, but Vegeta wants to take a swing at Black too. Goku says Bulma as his wife already got him the first time, so this time he's the one taking the opportunity. Bulma says Goku should go with her, so they start with preparations. Vegeta in the meantime is appointed to go with Beerus and Whis to check the time rings, just in case. From here, the events go relatively the same as in canon, just with different characters taking place of others. Goku and Bulma go back into the future with Trunks in the meantime. Bulma already had a capsule full of delicious food, snacks and treats all ready to go. Down in the underground barracks, Bulma comes by and tells everyone to step aside as the people watch on surprised that Bulma is here. Bulma opens the capsule and then turns to Goku and Trunks, wanting Goku to do a baseline against him this time, since he's a touch stronger. Goku's ecstatic and so they go reveal their presence. Outside, Black senses them and is instantly there. Goku tells Black that Bulma was holding back, and at this time he will show the display of powers they have. Jumping straight to Super Saiyan Blue, Goku tells Black that this time, the real Goku wins. Goku Black smirks, then suddenly starts powering up him damn self. He transforms into his own version of Super Saiyan Blue, which he calls Super Saiyan Rose. With the Rose power, he rushes at Goku, to which Goku simply evades and gut punches Black. With that, the fight between the two begins, while Bulma and her son watch on, confident that Goku will win the thing. Goku and Goku Black are fighting it out, and it's obvious that Goku is more powerful, since he trained the Super Saiyan Blue well while training at Beerus' world along with Vegeta. Black tried keeping up, but couldn't against all this power of Goku's, so he had other plans. He decides to let Zamasu come in, however even Zamasu had other plans. Zamasu saw Bulma and Trunks, seeing them completely off guard, so he had an idea. Since Bulma was quite the coordinator during fights when the two of them first appeared, he wanted to kidnap this version of Bulma, knowing her smarts and potential and not letting it happen again. So with a swift motion of his hand and concealing his energy, he manages to knock Bulma out. Trunks realized it a bit too late, while Black smirked to the background process. Trunks yells for Goku as Goku turns around and sees the horror before his eyes happen. Black gives Goku an arm lock, forcing Goku to watch. Goku couldn't do much but watch and struggle to get out. Trunks was badly injured by Zamasu's hand keyblade, getting Trunks to fall down in pain. Zamasu then takes Bulma, kai-kaiing her away. Goku, seeing that, got furious, getting angry though unable to do anything. However, he had one trick he wanted to use for the longest time, but never had a chance to do it. Goku enables his Kaioken, managing to escape from Black's arm lock and kick Black away. When Zamasu conveniently teleported back, he too got the backing. Goku couldn't believe what just happened, but tried staying focused, taking Trunks away and fleeing back to the present timeline, leaving the now kidnapped Bulma there to find her another day. Bulma awakens, chained up and locked in a small room with a skylight. The chains were forged from a material that made her powers useless, though she still struggled and tried her best to escape. With nothing to do, having been caught in the midst of the entire thing, she ponders, wondering on what to do and strategize her escape. Bulma is watching on, seeing the skylight and a nice and bright evening. She tries to unshackle herself yet again, but fails to do so as she gets weak yet again and decides to stop for a while to regain her strength. Just as she stops, Black and Zamasu arrive and hover over her. Bulma asks if they came to kill her and if so to go ahead right away. Zamasu said no, and they do not wish to hurt her at all, but torture sure, as she's powerless to resist. They say Bulma from this timeline gave them one heck of a hangover from fighting her, as she used all her power to try and defeat them, and they wouldn't like to repeat the same mistake yet again. Black elaborates that her power bursts have become way too much for them and had to outplay her to win. Bulma laughs to her chin and says they almost lost to a simple mortal bitch, to which Black takes offense of and starts kicking her in the stomach repetitively. Bulma can barely hold herself together, but they quit it and leave, saying they will keep her at bay like that and not to try anything funny. Bulma is left bleeding, having severe upper body injuries from the attacks and bleeding from her mouth. Goku and Trunks come back. Goku rushes out to tell everyone that everyone's going in the future, as Bulma has been kidnapped and they need to move fast. Dr. Briefs is already on getting the fuel ready while the rest get ready and train up. Not long after, Goku, Vegeta, Raditz and Trunks go into the future. In the future, everything seems calm. Vegeta though doesn't spare a single moment and powers up to Super Saiyan Blue and yells out for Black to come the fuck out and fight like a man. Black appears instantly and initiates a fight. Goku mentions how there was one more, quickly discovering him. However, he doesn't do anything as he's watching on to the part of their plan, and so Goku, Raditz, and Trunks plan theirs out. Trunks stays out of it, while him and Raditz move on. Raditz is told to spectate the corner and watch until someone pops out, then to rush him and keep him from interfering, while he gets them away from the fight. Zamasu emerges, and Raditz goes straight into a Super Saiyan Blue and rushing him, sending him away, while Goku tells Vegeta he got this and to keep Black from following. Vegeta smirks and agrees, powering up even more and pounding Black into the dirt. Goku Black, however, seems to get quite the enjoyment from it and keeps on going and improving. Before long, Vegeta is being overpowered by Black, which forces Trunks to step in and fight alongside his father. However, Vegeta is blinded by rage of having his Bulma taken away into captivity, so he brushes Trunks aside and starts spamming Ki Blasts. That does nothing, as always, and Black casts him aside, saying that the sin of being immortal is exactly what Vegeta just displayed, that pride. That gets Trunks furious, and Trunks starts raging, powering up in the process. In the meantime, Goku and Raditz both figure out that Zamasu is immortal and that he cannot be defeated by normal means. Combining their efforts, they try getting rid of him much like in the fashion of Cell and Buu, but that does zero damage as Zamasu's regeneration is active and lasts forever, as it was wished on the Super Dragon Balls, as he said. To the gang, that was a new thing, and they promptly ask. Zamasu says that it's something mortals do not understand and to quit yapping and give up. Goku and Raditz power up and keep on going. Bulma, on the other hand, can't sense the fight going on, wanting to be there but can't. She looks at the skylight and sees the moon shining brightly, and she gets the idea. She realizes she has a tail, hoping for the blood waves of the full moon to hit her. And with the eyes going red, the transformation began. Her fur transitioned from brown to red, indicating that she was using the Super Saiyan God state in it, and it did two things. One, it gave her a ton of power, and two, she had full control of her form due to the tranquility of the form. She was aware of herself, and so she decides to see how far she can go. Going further beyond, she enters a more humanoid state, but with red fur and eyes. She has reached a new form never seen before. She doesn't care for the name of it or the strength of it, but does know that she's now released from the shackles and ready to go, so she books it to the fight scene. Over there, everyone sees Bulma having this power of hers and amazed at the new form of hers. Black sees that Bulma indeed escaped her captivity and gets angry, while Bulma looks at him sternly. She tells Vegeta to get the fuck out of her way as she's taking Black on now. Vegeta scoffs and looks at Bulma, who gives him a death stare and prompting him to step down. Bulma now locks in on Black and gives him the same treatment they gave her in the basement, giving him a serious gut punch and sending him to the ground, making him bounce off the ground like a ball before kicking him towards Zamasu and knocking them both into each other. She powers up her aura and goes towards them head first and kicking Black in the neck, piercing through it and giving Black blank eyes. Zamasu is next on her list and she immediately starts punching the hell out of him, but he heals from it each time. Bulma is then told about his regenerative ability, which she scoffs at and calls it a bitch move on his end. She then starts preparing a devious Kamehameha wave that she shoots at Zamasu and disintegrating him on the spot. Bulma is now at peace, dropping down from her form in pain. Vegeta comes to aid along with Goku, and Goku gives her a senzu bean. She eats it and recovers. They then start the celebration of saving the future. But not for long, as Zamasu comes out to envelop the Earth whole and transition into the cosmos. Goku tries to do something by going Super Saiyan Blue, but fails. Trunks can however go into a Super Saiyan, and Bulma can go into her Super Saiyan 4 form, just without a God power up on top of it. They all rush at the sky, but are taken down one after the other. Bulma manages to withstand a couple of hits, but she too is brought down. Bulma then commands everyone to get the time machine and get out of there, to which Zamasu shoots a blast to destroy it, but Bulma fends it off. She says she will be on top of the time machine, so she too gets affected by it, while the rest are inside it. Trunks sets the machine up and Bulma is on his dome to protect it. The machine flies up and Bulma does her best to fend off, almost failing when she falls through the dome onto everyone. But just as Zamasu shoots the last blast, the machine disappears back into the present. Everyone is safe and back, getting out of the time machine and meeting back with the rest. Ulo is glad that Bulma is back, but wonders about the fursuit. Bulma goes back to base, showing her that indeed it's a new form. Ulo is surprised to see that, wondering on what did she do. Bulma says that she went Uzaru by accident, remembering too late that she can do that. Ula remembers that Husky cut her tail off a long time ago, so she cannot do that. However, Beerus is more intrigued as to who built the time machine. Trunks says that him and his mom did it with the help of Dr. Breeze while he was still alive. They worked on it day and night, going as far as getting the rare material found near the core of the earth and the fuel needed for it to run. Over there it was a hassle, but here it was a breeze since neither of him or Bulma knew how to create it efficiently. Bulma gave up being a scientist to be a fighter. That makes a lot more sense to Beerus now, but Goku has something to say, asking if the name Zamasu rings any bells. Vegeta mentions that yes, they were in the same universe as that Supreme Kai in training, since that universe holds the time rings in possession. Goku speaks up right away that Zamasu is the deceiver, planning something. And so Vegeta, Beerus and Whis go back to Goku's world of the Kais, where they meet up with Zamasu again. They sense menace within his soul, telling Vegeta that he plans to kill Goku. The events from here go same as in canon, except that Vegeta takes place of Goku and there is no Shin present. Future Trunks is alone this time. No Mai. He mourns his ruined world, the one he wanted to save, so Ulo chimes in to tell him that he can just go to another timeline before all this happened in the first place. Trunks likes that idea and begins preparations, though this time it's Bulma that rushes him before departure. They both smile, having a small sparring session before Trunks gets into the time machine and departs. With future Trunks now gone, Bulma thanks Goku and the rest for caring for her and coming to her rescue, but she had it in the bag anyways. Raditz comments how she really couldn't do anything with those restraints of theirs. What's worse, she couldn't be sensed either. Bulma is still grateful, but more amazed how Raditz of all people managed to come. Raditz said that he had nothing better to do after getting his newborn and his wife is on parental leave. That surprises everyone, wondering when in the hell did Raditz get a kid. Raditz says it's not a big deal and tells his goodbyes. The rest talk about it a bit more before they also split up back to their normal lives. It has been a long while. Uloborid gave birth to a baby girl they named Asperon. Bulma also had a child, another baby girl called Bola. The two babies are about a year apart and they constantly play with each other, though a little bit roughly, since they're both Saiyan. Bulma went out of her way to build Gohan and Ulo a brand new villa to live in, since Capsule Corp would be crowded. Goku, Gohan and Vegeta trained on and off on Beerus' world. Vegeta got his taste of going beyond Super Saiyan Blue and even got taught Hakai from Beerus. Goku has also mastered Super Saiyan Blue and uses Kaioken on top of it without any hassle. He was trained by Whis on how to let his body use his instincts instead of plotting mid-fight. So in no time, the two got powered up quite a lot. Apart from that, no interesting events happened up until now, because there was a breach in the galactic prison, to which a powerful and dangerous wizard has escaped from. The Earth is visited by Beerus, who asks of the Saiyans to assemble. Bulma and Vegeta are already there. Ulo comes by in a minute and Goku has to be contacted by Piccolo to get the memo. In either case, the Saiyans are assembled and Beerus explains the situation without any violence this time. Beerus says that a powerful wizard named Moro has escaped prison and need all the help they can get. The gang looks at each other and agrees. Gohan opted to stay away and watch over the kids, since he's also working on something at home and will only get in the way with his rusty ass. Bulma thanks him, and with that, they depart with Beerus and Jaco. Jaco is surprised that the Bulma he once knew is not anymore and that she too converted herself into a Saiyan. Bulma asks if that's gonna be a problem and Jaco declines. Beerus fills them in on Moro and his location. They understand the assignment and decide to go there. On Namek, they arrive and wait for something to happen. They leave Goku, Vegeta, Bulma and Ula to wait as they go into hiding. Moro arrives and already starts causing bullshit. Goku tells him to return back to prison, but he's ignored and Moro rushes him with his power. Goku evades using his new skills he learned from Whis, so Bulma steps in with her Super Saiyan and starts slapping Moro around. Moro uses his absorption techniques to catch her by surprise, using the planet as a resource and start draining her of energy. Bulma tries to escape, but it's not up until she goes into her Super Saiyan God when things change. She feels oddly drained but still standing. Goku chimes to step in now that she's drained, but Bulma declines the offer and saying she still has loads in the tank. Meanwhile, on Earth, 3 henchmen come to Earth, to which Jaco has warned Gohan and Piccolo about. Gohan and Piccolo go to the lookout and get ready. 7-3 and the gang drop by on the lookout and start talking shit. With all that trash done, Piccolo tries attacking 7-3, but he quickly retaliates and steals Piccolo's abilities, using Piccolo's arsenal against him. Jaco is pushed off and Piccolo goes into pursuit, which forces Gohan to intervene and use his mystic power. As a last resort, 7-3 uses part of Moro's power stealing ability and uses it to outclass whoever showed up. Gohan is knocked off. Piccolo is restrained, then knocked off, and Krillin and the rest just drop down. Gohan is out of fuel and falling, but is saved by one of Korin's Nimbus Clouds and told to take a senzu bean and not lose this time around. Gohan says bet, knowing he's been experimenting with something in his free time, and then uses the same Nimbus Cloud to ascend upwards towards the lookout, preparing to power up. As 7-3 and the rest are about to consider the job done, Gohan rushes in on 7-3 and kicks him in the jaw, glowing red and having a devious look in his eyes. Releasing it all, he powers up into something not yet seen before. He enters his beast mode and then leaves 7-3 in shock. He tries to do something, but Gohan straight up cuts 7-3's head clean off and leaves them there to die, going on to the rest of the gang. Back to the guys on Namek, the situation is fucked up. Bulma is getting worn out fast, as well as everyone else, and they all use their Super Saiyan forms to rush a Moro, but it's in vain. Moro has sucked out tons of energy from them for them to make a decent dent. Moro is concerned about 7-3, not sensing him any longer. During Moro's concern, Goku uses the last of his energy to use instant transmission and dip out of there to regain some strength. They all teleport to Korin's tower and completely gassed out ask for a senzu bean. Korin says he only has one, which he doesn't know who to give it to. Bulma says she hasn't used her full power yet and opts to eat that last senzu bean. As she was about to eat it, Goku starts glowing a light blue, going from being completely unconscious to fully alert. He looks around and then grabs Bulma's senzu bean, eating it, he replenishing his power and then instant transmissioning back to Namek, where Moro waits, wondering where everyone went. Seeing Goku and his new power, he gets a smug look on his face and tries attacking him using the planet's energy. Goku easily evades and looks at Moro, who is unable to do anything against Moro, and Goku has achieved Ultra Instinct Sign for the very first time and uses it against Moro to pull the first offense. Though weak, it does damage Moro some. Moro comments on Goku's weak attacks, but Goku monotonely replies that he's just getting used to it. Moro gets cocky, seeing Goku hasn't fully mastered whatever form he's currently using and goes for an assault. Goku easily evades, then again and again and again. Moro is getting worn down fast, trying to use the planet as an energy source to replenish his own. But his stamina is also suffering greatly. In no time, Goku has gotten used to the new form and it's his time to retaliate. He rushes Moro, who tries to punch him, but he instantaneously comes up from behind him and kicks him into a mountain. Moro gets angry and tries to hit Goku from each and every single side using the planet's energy, which fails miserably, and Goku throws a ki barrage of his own, which makes a dent on Moro. Moro does a last-ditch effort and tries to swallow the planet whole to get enough power to defeat Goku, but Goku already defeated himself, dropping back to base from exhaustion of using Ultra Instinct. Moro seizes the opportunity and attacks Goku, landing all sorts of attacks on him, to which Goku can't do anything. Moro stops for a brief moment to throw a large ki ball at Goku, but Goku manages to muster up enough power to instant transmission himself out of there. On Earth, Shin is already there and concerned about everything, but Bulma says she needs to get there stat. Even though she hasn't recovered her full energy and stamina, she still wishes to go. Ula stops her, saying it's her turn now and that she will get rid of it. Shin is curious, knowing her power level as of right now, but Ula tells him to trust her. Shin hesitantly takes her to Namek and leaves as quickly as he came. Ula stands face to face with Moro, seeing him for the first time. She's still not recovered mentally from her pregnancy fully, but she doesn't care cause she has a job to do and letting her Saiyan instincts kick in. Ula goes straight to Super Saiyan Blue from the get-go, but something's different. Her eyes resemble that of the Wrath form she recently acquired. She has mastered the form to the point of using that boost, much like how Goku uses Kaioken, or Bulma using her power surges. Ula has her own special ability now, and goes to use it to her fullest. As Moro is trying to rush, Ula charges up a Kamehameha to honor Goku's latest achievement. Moro is dodged by Ula as he stops in his tracks and looking back as Ula throws the giant attack right at him, killing him on the spot and for good. The scene shifts back to Earth and Ula having a heated argument with Beerus and how Moro was supposed to be imprisoned, but Ula doesn't listen and tells Beerus that she killed for far less, attempting to throw a punch on Beerus, only to get dodged in a similar fashion to how Goku would in his Ultra Instinct. Beerus replies how she shouldn't attack him out of nowhere, letting it slide. Beerus leaves and it takes Ula a while to realize that Beerus possesses the same traits as Whis. It's been a few months, peace and quiet on Earth. The gang is all chilling, but this time, no training or anything. They're proper chilling. Goku is with his wife and Chi-Chi cooked a delicious meal for the entire family. Gohan and Ula are also invited, along with baby Aspiron. They have a beautiful family time full of joy and happiness. Ula sees what a beautiful family truly is, getting really emotional about it since she's never had it. In the kitchen, Chi-Chi notices Ula a bit off, and though hesitant, Ula spills the beans about her past and upbringing. Chi-Chi comforts her, saying that she now has a family she always wanted and to never let it go, finishing her statement that it's something beautiful, despite the hardships that may come in the way. Over at Capsule Corp, Vegeta, Bulma, Trunks, and Bola are also having an amazing time. Dr. Briefs is also there along with Panchi. Panchi's doing the kitchen heavy lifting since she wanted to cook this one time instead of relying on the cooks. Even Tights was called up for a family time, but even though she said she cannot, she submits to it, saying that she will leave her son at daycare and come with her husband. What's weird, when Tights and her husband arrive, turns out that her husband is Raditz. Tights and Raditz hooked up. Vegeta is sort of mortified, Bulma laughs the hell out on the ground, while Trunks says that it's a crazy coincidence and a small world. In either case, now they know exactly where Raditz has been all this time. In the Hero of Z-verse, a boss has sensed some distress in one of the universes and decides to go check it out.
You want to come along? It'll be really fun. You get to have a lot of pets you could destroy if you want.
As fun as that sounds, I can't. I need to do this work for Urza, or else she won't let me hear the end of it. You go take care of it. They end up exactly in our verse by accident, having overshot the timeline into this one, searching for the evil energy. Vegeta conveniently came out at the exact moment, going to get something real quick, when they appeared right behind him. They encounter some familiar faces and go engage in conversation.
Hey, this isn't the world. Looks too town for that. I could sense it's further away.
Wait, you're right. Wait, let's ask if Vegeta there. Yo.
What? Who are you?
Doesn't matter. Did you sense someone passing by here with very evil key?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you.
They depart towards their actual destination then and there. Vegeta is hella confused but ignores it. He cannot sense them any longer either way, so he's lenient and goes about his routine. He comes back, telling them about the encounter with the strange weirdos and how they asked him of some evil key, wondering if there's something going on in the universe, or worse, multiverse. They ignore it, but Vegeta is more concerned about their mortifying energy they possessed. The events are yet to change, as a green-haired person has just used a wish to gain ultimate strength. Heaters ganged up with Granola to take Frieza down, unbeknownst to them not knowing that Frieza is fully dead after that stunt on Earth, not even willing to bother on checking. They then begin seeking for Frieza, hoping to find him in all the known places. They breach all the Frieza Force centrals, trying to find him and kill him once and for all. All close, but no cigar. Eventually they're told Frieza has already been killed off twice by the Saiyans. That surprises Granola, being unaware of it. He questions the Saiyans and their immense thirst for battle, which leads them to defeat the tyrant. Heaters acted confused, so they opted to track the Saiyans down. What they don't know is that most of the Saiyans are on Earth and are full powerful beyond anything they've ever seen before, so they rely on Granola's brainwashing and strength in order to get them out of the way first in order to begin their conquest. On Earth, the chill is real. No one's doing anything but having family time. Goku becomes a bit distant, seeing something's wrong and not having much will to talk to the rest. Ulubord comes by and asks for the truth, but Goku can't explain the gut feeling. He says it's the same as when Frieza came back, and Bulma isn't faring any different either. She keeps staring out the window. Vegeta comes to her, asking if she feels it too. Bulma confirms, but says not to warn the others, as it could just be nothing. It wasn't nothing though, as the ship descends and a few people come out of it. Even though it's far, everyone senses just how powerful they are. So Goku and the Saiyans decide that today it's not their day off anymore and go check it out. Oil, Maki, Elec, and Gas are right behind Granola, who is ready to kill every Saiyan. Ulubord decides to stand before them first, wanting to know who interrupted their vibe. Granola sees that she indeed is a Saiyan, as well as the rest behind her. Goku flies in front of Ulubord and sees that they mean business, though the green-haired one isn't too sure about his purpose at the moment, searching for his feelings. Michael, in the meantime, senses the boss is master of all instincts, despite having been told it's not a big deal, and goes to check it out on his own, landing in the same universe that the two landed on previously. Granola is the first to turn around to see Michael, while Michael is standing there like a deer in damn headlights, and he sees the standoff going on, so he is as brief as possible and goes over to Ulubord. Hey, what's up? Has a Goku and Vegeta lookalikes been around here?
Yeah, just a moment ago. Why do you ask?
They're family. I can sense they're in danger. Thanks for the info.
Who the fuck? And they're gone. That was weird.
With the small inconvenience, Granola takes the opportunity to attack Goku, who evades easily and comes up from behind Granola, briefly entering Super Saiyan Blue and kicking Granola down. Granola, though, was using a clone to fight Goku, so his real body was within the ship. Alec was smiling, slowly floating towards Goku and Granola when Bulma intercepted, going Super Saiyan God 4 and telling him he's not welcome to the pie. Gas joins the battle, but Vegeta casts him aside with a stern look. Oil and Maki are also getting ready for battle, but Ulobord and Gohan step in, also in their final forms. What they all don't know is that Gas is a lot more powerful than the rest, being able to use manipulative key techniques against them. The entire gang slowly gets battered and the Heaters are smiling, knowing their plan is gonna work out eventually and perfectly at that. Granola is smiling with them, though for a totally different reason. Though he recognizes Goku from somewhere, or at least his face and hair. He remembered a Saiyan warrior he once met with Monoito that saved him. As Granola gets ready for battle again, he cannot move, justified by the other Heaters mentioning it. The reason they cannot move is right behind him and standing. So I couldn't find them, but I did take notice of the battle there. Heaters, I'll give you 3 seconds to fuck off.
And you are?
The name's Michael, now shoo.
You don't get to tell us what to do.
As easily as Gas said it, he started screaming, as well as the rest of the Heaters, as Michael used its essence mastery to combine them all into a single singularity, killing them in the process with the intensity. Now that they're gone, here's the spoilers. Granola, Goku here is Bardock's son. He has a righteous heart, all of them do. Vegeta turned the tides, Bulma here is an Earthling that turned Saiyan, Ulobord is a genetic experiment, and the rest are Saiyan human hybrids. They're not the enemy here, and your power does not come near Goku, Vegeta, or Gohan. Bulma and Ulo have work to do on theirs though, so fight them at your own risk. Alec wanted to kill you though in cold blood before you attacked. He even tried doing that prior before Vegeta intercepted. They are not the enemy. Hear from them if you want, my job is done. Michael has intercepted and changed the timeline, since he had nothing better to do while waiting for a boss to come back. With that small adventure, Michael goes home. Everyone is confused on what exactly just happened, but Granola finally got back to his senses and asks about everything, still on guard. Now that everything makes sense to Granola and Michael ruined the timeline with his antics, there's not much to do but for Granola to ask for forgiveness and get off planet, living the last 3 years of his life in regret. With no Frieza, we're done with this what if. While you wait for the next part, join the T23 Discord server with the Vanity URL down in the description. Also, check out Hero of Z in the pinned comment. Thank you for watching, and with that, peace out.